Hey guys, I'm Dave Boyce live in New Scott Studio, aka my house, and you're watching my New Scott interview at newscott.com.
All right, I'm back here with another New Scott interview, and today in his studio apartment we have Dave Boyce. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Were you a fan of professional wrestling growing up?
I was.
In the 20s?
Yeah, I'm pretty old, so I'm going to age myself here. But yeah, as far I can remember the build-up for WrestleMania 1, so that's a long time ago. But yeah, huge fan.
When did you start watching?
Probably when I was like 5. My family used to take me to Grand Prix wrestling.
Okay.
Friend of a friend's uncle was Ron Gauguin, the referee.
Okay.
So when they used to go to Amherst and stuff, we used to go there. But TV-wise, I used to watch WWF at the time, Saturday mornings, 12 o'clock. And then my grandmother had the Superstation on TBS, so I used to run over to her place for 6:05 Saturday. So yeah, as far back as I can remember, I was always a wrestling fan.
Who were your favorite guys to watch back then?
Hulk Hogan. I'm a Hulkamaniac.
What was it about Hogan that drew you to him?
He was just larger than life. Oh my God! I used to. In my family, we're late night TV watchers. So Saturday Night Main Event would come on, and just the opening video, and he's just so pumped, and his opening promo, and I was like, oh my God, this guy is incredible. So I was just hooked. Huge Hulkamania fan.
That's awesome. How did you said you were about 5 years old when you went to like a Grand Prix show. You were brought to it by like your parents. Do you know how they discovered Grand Prix wrestling, like back in the 70s? That's when it was.
Yeah,
right?
It was a long time. It was on ATV back at the time. My grandmother liked it, even though she would, me and her would fight constantly. That she'd say, "Oh, it's fake, it's fake." And I'd get so mad that it was real. But she used to watch it, so I used to watch it with her. But yeah, Leo Burke and Cuban Assassin, and oh my God, I loved it. I loved it.
When was your first Grand Prix show? Do you remember? Or who was on it?
So it would be probably. Who was on it? I can remember who was on it because I remember Killer Carl Croup scared the living shit out of me. The Amherst Stadium, there weren't too many people there, but as a 5 or 6 year old, I can't remember exactly when it was, like 79, 80.
Yep.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah. And we get to go backstage because we knew Ron Gauguin. And so, but back then it was kayfabe, right? Yeah. So like the bad guys were in one room and the good guys were in the other room, and Leaping Lanny Poffo was there. I remember he used to do the frisbee gimmick, I think it was.
Okay.
Maybe that might have been later on, but Leo Burke, Big Stephen Pettipaw, all them guys.
Lanny Poffo came in here a few years ago too for Chuck. He worked Chris Cook in Spryfield.
Yeah. I was at that show as a fan.
Oh, okay. Did you consistently go to Grand Prix wrestling shows throughout the 80s and stuff?
No, because they only came to Amherst every once in a while.
Okay.
I'm from Spring Hill, so we didn't get very much wrestling there at all. A company came through, I told you, with the Wrestling Bear was the main event.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I remember that. But yeah, very, very seldom.
When did you how did you rediscover it then? Like, at what point in time did you rediscover independent wrestling around here? Or did you always know it was going on?
No, like I said, I was from Spring Hill, so I didn't move to Halifax until I was 18. Moved to Halifax. I watched like mainstream TV wrestling, but there was no independence around back where I'm from. High school wrestling and stuff. We'd go to tournaments all the time.
So you said you were born in 73?
Yeah.
So you moved here in like 91, 92?
Yeah, I graduated at 91 and moved here shortly after. And but yeah, I didn't really see any independent wrestling again until I moved here.
Okay. Did you start going to Grand Prix again then? Because they were still running.
They were still running.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a few shows when I could. Like I said, I was 18 and 19. I didn't have any money. I was living with my folks. But but then I did really start being a diehard independent wrestling fan until I discovered REW.
Okay, so that when they started in '99 or early 2000s?
It was probably the early 2000s.
Okay, when you started running Exhibition Park?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your memories of Real Action Wrestling?
Loved it. I loved it. I miss just being a wrestling fan because I remember back then we go and just try to terrorize the wrestlers. Like we just agonize them all the time. But I loved it. Oh my God, the larger than life guys, Bobby Roode, Peter. I remember going to a show once with my friend who wasn't a wrestling fan. I begged him to come. I said, just come, just Exhibition Park's not that far.
Yep.
Jump on the bus. And he fell right in love with it, so.
What are some of your favorite memories and matches from Real Action Wrestling from back then?
Anything with Bobby Roode. I was a huge Bobby Roode fan. The blonde hair.
Velvet tights.
Yeah.
Velvet panties.
Velvet panties.
Yeah.
Favorite matches? I always liked anything with Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, I was a huge Gary fan. So meeting him later on in life was pretty cool.
Did you see the ladder match him and Bobby had?
I did.
There was at least two of them. No?
There was
There was at least two, because I have two of them on tape.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a third. Gary
seen
thinks
one.
I'm missing one, but I can't find it if it is. There was one in Halifax.
There was one in Halifax. I do remember that. Yeah.
Do you remember that one where where Gary ripped the belt in half from the top?
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. The ref took the shot with the ladder in the corner. Do you remember he got his hands down?
No, I don't remember.
And they just chucked it at him.
Who was the ref?
Sydney.
Okay.
He was the regular ref for Real Action Wrestling back then. He actually went on to be a local promoter for music and stuff.
Okay.
He's not. He passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. But yeah, when 50 Cent and all those bands came here, he was the one that was bringing them in. But yeah, so did you go to Real Action Wrestling shows consistently, or?
I tried.
You tried?
Yeah. By then, I started my real job.
Okay.
And it was working day and night shifts and stuff. So a lot of the weekends I was working night shifts, so I couldn't really get to a lot. But when there was a show, I would try to go. In
2002, Bobby Bass broke off from Real Action Wrestling, started ACW, and then renamed it All Canadian Pro Wrestling. Did you go to any of those shows? They had 4 in Halifax.
I don't think so.
Jim Neidhart was here?
No.
Didn't go to those? Did you know they were happening? Or?
Probably not, because it doesn't even ring a bell. Okay. I knew Bobby Bass started his own company, but...
They had 4 shows in Halifax and then mostly ran other places because they never came back here because they got a show that was canceled because nobody came to.
Right.
And then they never ran Halifax again.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to any other shows like Mainstream Wrestling when they were running Doolittle's? They also ran the Forum.
I went to the Forum. I've never been to Doolittle's. I went to a show at the Forum once, and it was good.
Yeah. Do you remember who was on that show?
No.
Do you remember when it was? Because you only ran there a couple of times.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4.
It's the spring of 2002. Am I wrong or right? Early 2000s.
It would have been the first time they did it. Would have been August 2002.
Yeah.
It was a ladder match. It was a ladder match between Sarah Stock, Lincoln Steen, and Scott Savage. Was the main event.
No, that's
Sarah
not the show.
Died.
So it had to have been the fall of 2002 then, maybe.
Okay, could have been.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really remember it, so it couldn't have been very memorable.
So you didn't go to Doolittle's.
No.
Did you? Yeah. When did you start getting involved here? It was a Russell Center,
Russell
right?
Center, yeah.
So were you going to independent shows? Did you go to the Maritime Cup?
I went to the Maritime Cup.
Which one?
The one in Exhibition Park.
There wasn't one at Exhibition Park. There was 2 at the Forum, 1 in Kentville, and 1 in PEI.
Was it the Forum?
There's.
Why do I think it was at the
1 and 3
Park?
were at. 1 and 3 were at the Forum. 2 was in Kentville, and 4 was in PEI.
I must be getting a RAW show mixed up, but I did go to a Maritime Cup, so it must have been at the Forum.
Okay. Yeah. Bobby was at the first 3.
Bobby was at the one I was at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you go to any UCW shows?
Yeah, I went to some.
Yeah.
The earliest one I can remember, some of the early ones I can remember, there was fans were surrounding the ring with belts.
Marty Jannetty and Trash Canyon?
Marty Jannetty and Trash Can.
It was the worst idea ever.
It was so bad. There were a lot of fans there, though.
There was like 800 people
Yeah,
there that night. It wasn't. Jake Roberts was supposed to be there.
Jake, he was supposed to be,
but he couldn't get across the border.
Right.
At that point.
I remember going to a lot of shows. Frank Parker, and we only went because Frank Parker was a referee, and so what company would that have been?
UCW.
He was UCW.
Yeah.
We would go just to razz Frank because he was so easy to get under his skin. So we used to go, and I remember one time we were going to a show, and there was construction just outside of the forum, and we picked up an orange pylon, and we took it in with us, and we would use it as a megaphone. And Frank was so mad.
That's awesome.
We would just razzle him.
You knew who Frank was from like Refereeing Grand Prix?
Yeah.
From back in the day?
Yeah. And he was a lovely guy, I'm sure, but we just knew it was easy to get under his skin, so that's why we would, it was fun.
Did you never meet him, like outside, like
no,
he had passed away before?
Yeah. Never met him. Oh no, that's not true. We gave him an award at Wrestle Center.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Jason actually, I contacted me to do that up for him, but I was supposed to give it to him, but the show we were supposed to give it to him, and he was sick, and then the next one I was in LA, so we just wanted to get him in the Slam Wrestling Hall of Fame award, I think it was. But yeah, it was. I was so glad he got that award. What took you so long to get involved in independent wrestling? Because I after my very first show, I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to way to get involved with this. Mm-hmm. And then like 2 shows later, I was. You started in like '79, or going to shows. I mean, you were 5, obviously. Yeah. But when you moved up here, you're such a big fan. What took you so long, or was it just not something you were interested in?
It was always in the back of my mind, but I didn't. Real life was just hectic. I got married and had 2 kids at a very young age.
Okay.
I was 23 with a mortgage and 2 kids and a full-time job and a dog, and so it was just, wrestling was just a side passion of mine that got me away from my real life, but I didn't really have the time to pursue.
Did you ever look into it back then, or you just never bothered?
No, just was just a fan.
So how did it come about that you started working with Wrestle Center?
I was walking down the street one day and I seen a wrestling poster, and it was for Wrestle Center's first show by themselves, because they were doing joint shows with UCW. Yeah.
I never got that.
No, it doesn't make any sense. But JP Sims and AJ Styles was on the poster, so I was a fan of AJ. I didn't know who JP was, actually, to tell you the truth.
Well, why would you if you were not going to the show?
I wasn't going to any shows, so I may have seen him on a show, but I didn't. It didn't register with me. It was AJ that caught my attention. So a friend of mine, Dave Lowe, I knew he was in wrestling, so I contacted him, and I was like, I'd really like to get involved. Somehow, I'll come put chairs out. I'll do whatever. And he said, yeah, okay. So he sent me Jason Mosier's contact info. Contacted Jason, told him who it was, and he said, yeah, sure, send me a resume. Well, what kind of resume would I send you? I've never done anything in wrestling. So I brainstormed and I came up with a god-awful idea of just creating a character and start putting videos on their Facebook page.
Damien Cage?
Damien Cage.
What was the idea behind that?
Again, I was like, how can I show this guy without a resume, without any wrestling background, what I can offer? So I thought, I was doing some background acting at the time, so I was like, set up my camera. I knew I couldn't be a wrestler. I knew I couldn't do any like that, so I thought, well, maybe I could be a manager. I'll try my luck. So I created the manager, made a persona, did the god-awful Damien Cage voice.
Let's hear it.
No, I don't want to do it.
Next time.
Yeah. So then I went on Facebook on their page, and no one was doing like the teaser videos. There was nothing like that at the time. So I put on the teaser video, he's coming, put the god-awful Damien Cage music, and instantly people hated it. Wrestlers, I should say. Fans were digging it. And then I did 2 of those, and then I did the reveal video where Damien Cage, me dressed as Damien Cage, turned around and shot my promo and shit on Kevin Tyler, JP Sims. I forget who else, but it was just horrible. And instantly, I got so much hate mail from wrestlers. It was, and that was that was the end of that.
What? Why?
They just said I was shitting on the business. Okay. How dare I? I didn't train. Who are you to come and?
Right.
And I instantly went on Facebook, wrote a huge apology, and that was the end. I thought that was the end. I wasn't even going to get contacted by Russell Center.
What did Jason think or say?
Jason loved it.
Yeah.
Yep. He wanted me to keep doing it, and I said no because, like I said, like Steve Arsenal was just fucking wild. I remember getting so much heat from him. So I said no, thanks. I learned my lesson. I did everything wrong. I couldn't possibly show up. And the day before their first show, Jason called me or wrote me, and their ring announcer called in sick, and he asked if I would come ring announce.
Who was supposed to be the ring announcer?
I have no idea. To this day, I do not know.
Okay. Had you done any type of? You mentioned you did some acting. Have you ever done any like ring announcing or any type of like?
I did hosting.
MC work before?
Yeah, I did. I hosted a music contest downtown Halifax. I've done like public speaking and stuff.
Okay.
Hosted like variety shows.
So you get the Russell Center for your very first like actual backstage working at a show. What's that experience like for you? You walk into the building. What happens?
I went early because I thought I probably would have to apologize to a few people. I was scared out of my mind. I got there, they were just unloading the ring, so I started helping put the ring together. Didn't know anybody. Went backstage, found a corner on the floor, sat on the floor. I was too scared to take a chair. And Steve walked in, and he came over and he said, "Are you Damien Cage?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Follow me." And I was like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. And he took me out, the back alley of the Forum.
Yeah. And
he lit a smoke. And I was just sitting there, just shaking. And he tore me a new one. But then he said, you're man enough to come, so we're going to give you a second chance. And I said, thank you. And I started to walk away. He said, no. I'm not done. He said, wait here. Shane wants to talk to you. I was like, holy God. So then Shane Stevens came out, and he talked to me a little bit and stuff, but yeah, that was my first locker room experience. I sat on the floor.
Why do you think that they felt that it was their place to say something to you?
Well, looking back, I was, like I said, I was just a fan, and I went online and shit on everything that they worked hard doing. So
what I mean was, it wasn't from someone like Gary or Peter or Mike. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm guessing those three probably never even saw the videos or cared enough. But it was the other guys that saw it and had a problem with it, and rightfully so. I remember years later, a fan wrote and asked for advice, and they're like, "I'm thinking about doing a video as a manager," and I was like, "Don't." That's the worst thing you do. I said, just show up to the show and offer to help.
That's funny. Yeah, that's. So, did anyone explain to you like about locker room etiquette or wrestling etiquette before you got there?
No,
like,
but
it's fairly common sense.
Yeah, it's
but
common sense.
You'd be surprised. Well, you won't be surprised, but people would be surprised at how many people don't get it. Right?
Yeah. Well, I was also older, so I'm not like
that's true.
A young 19 or 20-year-old kid running around.
Yeah.
I remember that day setting up the ring, and it was my first experience dealing with Dylan Sharp.
Yeah.
So Dylan was sitting in a row of chairs with his feet up on the front row of chairs, yelling at us that we were doing everything wrong. And I thought, who is this guy? Yeah. Get up and show me how to do it then.
Yeah. He probably doesn't know how to do it
either. But no, etiquette-wise, I just went and found a spot and kept my mouth shut. And Jason and Tyler gave me my 16-page ring announcing script. And I didn't know any better, so if you ever watch the video of the show back, I have like a stack of papers in my hand in the ring, and everything's wrong, everyone's weights were wrong, everyone's hometowns were wrong.
So they literally wrote out word for word what you're going to say?
Word for word, yeah. They had Max Power weighing at 150 pounds. They had AJ Styles from Atlanta, Georgia, which he chewed me out after the show.
He's from Gainesville, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
JP was from Hollywood, Hollywood, California.
Were they just making up their own stuff for their
TV show?
So they didn't really care about what actually was going on.
And I didn't know.
16 pages.
Yeah,
that seems like a lot. I mean, I've wrote out stuff for the ring announcers. For ring announcers before, but it's never been more than a page.
Right.
And it's only like height and weight and all
my God!
stuff,
For AJ,
right?
they had me say every title he ever won. Like I was like just sitting there reading in the middle of the ring.
That's a lot of belts.
Yeah, it was a lot of belts. He was this, he was that, he was that. The AJ's just standing there like, get it over with. And then I announced him from Atlanta, Georgia, which is...
That's fun. So you never went up and asked him or any of them ahead of time, like,
I didn't know at the time.
Is this correct?
Tyler Burns handed me the paper, said, this is what we want you to say.
Okay.
And it was my first day. And then Jason came up and he was like, I want you to go out as Damian Cage. And I was like...
For ring announcing?
Yeah. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So, just go out just at the beginning and say, in your voice, ha, I told you I'd be here, and then take your sunglasses off and start ring announcing. So I did that. So that's the only time Damian Cage has ever been in a wrestling.
That's the only show I missed. I wish I didn't miss this show.
Yeah, that was...
So what, did you get any feedback from anyone else that night? Like, other than getting chewed out by AJ, did you, like, any of the other guys there? Because that would have been, like, Marcus Burke was there for the first time that night, Sidewinder, Titus, Julian, all those boys were there.
I went to everyone after the show.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
No one came to me, but I went around. I was like, I hope I did okay. Do you have any advice?
Yeah.
Marcus Burke told me, yeah. Well, a lot of wrestlers I was intimidated by, so I didn't bother them. But Burke was sitting over there dressed all corky like he does, and I thought, well, this guy seems cool. So I went over and said, hey, do you have any advice? And he said, yeah, shut your fucking mouth. So that was his advice, and I was like, I'll take it. So, but all in all, I did all right, I guess.
Yeah. So, were you under the impression that they were going to bring you back as ring announcer for like the rest of their shows, or was that just a one-time deal at that time?
No.
Were they like you said they had another ring announcer that?
And I never found out who that was. Okay. But after the show, Jason said, "If you want to be the ring announcer, it's yours if you want it." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love. Yeah, I've got my foot in the door."
Were you nervous at all out there for the first time?
No, I'm never nervous talking. I'd rather talk to 800 people than sitting right now. I'm more nervous now talking to you.
That's crazy. That's not. I mean, that's awesome. I guess that's why you're good at it. But for a first time, most people would like tremble. Like even like Stu does a good job. But the first match he announced, he messed up. I think it was like he announced Max Power, and I don't even think it was his fault because they gave him the cards in the wrong order. Mm-hmm. And I recognized the music, and he announced the wrong guy, and I immediately walked to the ring.
That happens so much.
I walked to the center of the ring because I was the ref, and I was like, it's the wrong guy. He's like, but that's what the card said. I'm like, it's still the wrong guy. It doesn't matter what the card says.
There's so many shows where I'll sit and I'll wait for the music to start because the music guy sometimes doesn't get the cue. Yeah. So it's just
wait, and it's good to know. Like it was his first show, like as a ring announcer too, so he wouldn't have probably.
And you make mistakes, but no one knows except for you. Like the fans don't know. Like same as wrestlers.
Oh,
wrestlers come to the locker room, they're all mad because they missed a move. I was like, the fans didn't know you screwed up. Don't worry about it. 100%.
They only know when you react to messing up, right? Yeah. If you're good enough, you can cover it up, and the fans have absolutely no idea that something was missed.
Yeah, I called Remy Petite for the first time. And instead of petit, like I pronounced the last T. And after the match, he's like, what's my last name? I was like, Petite? No, it's not. Do I look like a skinny woman to you?
how do you say it?
It's petit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either.
I learned the hard way.
Good to know. What was that 2015? 14?
14? The anniversary. I'm just looking over your shoulder because the anniversary poster's in my. So anniversary's 15. So
it is. Yeah.
It was 2014.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's great. I can never remember when it actually started. So they were running fairly regular shows at that point in time. What are some of your early memories of working for Wrestle Center and getting more comfortable around the boys in the back?
The first year was so fun. Again, I was new to the business, so of course I'm having a great time. But the talent, the atmosphere was great. I had to deal a lot with Jason and Tyler. Jason would say, do this, and then I'd go over and Tyler would say, oh, don't listen to Jason, do that. And then Jason would say, come here. And what Tyler just tell you? Well, you told me to do this. Well, no, don't do that, do this. So it was a lot of that.
Right.
But all in all, the talent back then, the matches back then were fun. The locker room was great. All the big surprises that Jason would pull out of his hat. It was, the first year was fun. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to every show.
He wasn't on the first show, but he was on the second show and a bunch of shows after that. What did you think when you heard Brody Steele was coming into Wrestle Center?
So I used to do
because when you said Steve pulled you aside, that's who pulled me aside at my first show being backstage was Brody Steele.
I remember, so I used to do the graphics for the Wrestle Center. I started taking their social media. So when Jason said we need a graphic to announce that Brody Steele's coming, I was like, oh, frick, that's awesome. I've always wanted to meet him.
Yeah. Did you hear any of the stories and stuff about him?
I knew some. Yeah, but I try not to listen to a lot of, like, I just remember seeing him as a fan. So I was like in awe of this giant of a man. And then when he showed up, I tried to keep my space for a bit because everyone was just like, hey, Pete, or whatever. So I waited, and it's finally my time, and I went over and I shook his hand. And of course, you're always thinking, like, should I shake it hard? So I kind of want to, like, you know, you're just overthinking everything. And but no, lovely man.
Shake Pete's hand like a man, isn't it?
Yeah, his whole hand was like covering my hand. And I said, I'm Dave Boyce, I'm the ring announcer. It's an honor to meet you. I used to watch you as a fan. And, yeah, thank you. And off he went. I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
But as far as advice and stuff, the first day I never bothered him at all.
Okay. When did you start getting more comfortable around everybody? Like you became friends with a lot of the guys, right? Like what point in time did that started happening?
Probably after the first show.
Okay.
Like the first show I kept to myself. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't know anybody. But the second show, that's when I start going around. Tyler would give me my notes, my ring announcer notes, and I've learned from the first show. So I'd go to all the talents, like, you know, is this right? Is this your weight? Is this so? I'd always show up early. I'd help put up the ring. I'd stay till last, tear everything down. So.
Did anyone tell you to do that, or you just did it? No,
I just did it.
Okay, smart.
So yeah, I think I gained a lot of the guys. Steve said one time that you went from the most hated to one of the most liked very fast. So whatever I was doing right.
I don't ever remember seeing those videos either. I guess they weren't on like the pages or anything.
They were just on the Wrestle Center page.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I wonder if they're still there.
Well, I started a Damien Cage Facebook page too, and I think they might be on there.
I remember the Twitter, but I don't remember seeing any of the videos. I'm gonna have to go find these somewhere. I'll insert them in here.
Yeah, I'll send them to you. Yeah, I have them somewhere.
So what you weren't necessarily would have been familiar with the term like hot-shotting the territory at that point in time, but Wrestle Center was bringing in a whole bunch of names. AJ Styles, Lance Storm, Christopher Daniels was a champ for a year. They had an unannounced AJ Styles appearance. They had an unannounced Samoa Joe appearance. What were you thinking at that point in time?
Christopher Daniels, can't say enough good about. I loved everything about him. He's awesome. And they brought him in for over a year.
It was over a year.
Yeah, so that was, I loved it. AJ Styles, that was huge when they brought him in. Jason let me in on that secret. I think only 3 of us knew. He didn't tell me about Samoa Joe. So when Samoa Joe walked out, I didn't even know because they had gone and got him like 10 minutes before he walked out.
Yeah. Who was it? Was Justin?
Justin.
He talked about that in the interview. Justin didn't even know who he was going to get. Yeah.
I know. I can't remember.
What would have happened if Samoa Joe was just happening to come here, and another wrestler got off the plane too?
Yeah, right. But again, I didn't know what hot-shotting meant at the time. I just know that the fans went ballistic.
It's true.
They were selling 600-700 tickets, so I thought whatever he was doing right. But yeah, but when I learned about hot-shotting and what it would do was when Wrestle Center started doing shows without people running out at the end as a big surprise, and fans were let down because I would do the Facebook after show. Like I'd go back home after the show and read the fans' comments stuff, and the excitement was just
Yeah, it's still to this day it shows. I get people coming up and talking to me. They're there, but they like the shows with the names better or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's because of situations
they were
like
expecting
that.
it.
Yeah,
and when it didn't
it
happen,
shouldn't be like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the main event, when a main star didn't run out, the fans felt deflated.
Yeah.
And that's when
you can only build so high, right?
Where do you go from there?
Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan are,
like
are
the Rock
coming out
from the bathroom at the Forum.
So what did you think when you first started hearing that term? Did you know what was going on, and how did you hear about it?
I heard the term from the boys.
Yeah.
That's when the locker room started rumbling a lot. And I would always just listen and take everything in like a sponge. But yeah, and then when Samoa Joe came as a surprise and Jason didn't even tell me, I was like, okay, that's weird. Why wouldn't he have told me? Because he told me all the other secrets, and I didn't leak them or anything. So everything just started to feel different around that time.
When was the Joe show?
When he came out, or
when he wrestled Daniels?
When he wrestled Daniels.
Yeah. That would have been 2000.
April 9th.
Was that 2015?
Do I get that? I think. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, when did you start having problems with Jason and Tyler?
Well, I had all the backstage problems with them constantly, with them telling me to do one thing and what the other, and stuff like that. But then it just seemed like it was.
I used to have them in my ear when I was roughing.
Yeah.
It was because they made me wear a headset.
Tyler Burns and Christopher Daniels argued every show.
Oh yeah.
Christopher Daniels hated it there. Hated it there. Probably when Jason. Well, the whole T-shirt thing was when I quit, but.
I was gonna get there.
Yeah.
But what was there anything leading to that, or was that just one big thing?
Me and Jason would talk a lot, and I just found as the shows went on, he was telling me less and less.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because he just didn't want people to find out, or him and Tyler were fighting backstage, and they couldn't agree on anything. I don't know what it was, but as their social media guy, I needed to know a lot of stuff. And
obviously,
yeah, and
you can't just post stuff's happening.
Yeah, and I just wasn't getting it, and. So I thought, okay, there's just something weird. And then, of course, like I said, when Joe walked out and I didn't know, that's when I thought, that's weird.
What did you think when people started leaving? Like, had Brody Steele already left and Greaser had already left, or were they still there at this point?
They were. Pete left. Pete left, and then me. I think I was like one of the very first ones. Okay.
What did you think when Pete left?
I knew he wasn't happy there.
Yeah.
The Mick Foley show, it was evident when they, the whole script, and it was. I believe that was the show that him and Gary had their match, and they were having like the feud where Gary was in retirement, whatever. Yeah. And they had their match, and they're legends, and they know what they're doing.
Right.
And they came backstage, and of course Jason and Tyler weren't happy, and just not what we wanted, and blah blah blah. And you could just tell in their faces, like, who the fuck are you to tell? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Who in the
hell are you to
one
tell?
of these with Gary and how?
I know. I had Gary on my podcast, but they're like, who in the hell are you to tell us, how to do what we do in the ring?
Right.
So I knew Pete and Gary were. It was just a matter of time before they were going to leave. So. They gave Mick Foley a script.
Yeah. I was sitting there when they handed it to him, and I'm like, obviously I'm not going to say anything, but in my head I'm like, hopefully that's not what I think it is.
Yeah.
Like,
That's garbage.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm like, that's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not my business, but I think that's something nuts.
Yeah.
To do to someone like that, to any of those guys, right? You can tell people like the points you want them to hit for your angle or whatever, but not word for word. Not someone like that.
And they were like dictating to us what to do and say outside of the company too.
Yeah.
So, and like I would pick up some talent at the airport. Like I went one time to pick up Samoa Joe and Matt Sydal.
Yeah.
And even the talent were complaining about how they were being treated. So like it was just snowballing.
So the T-shirt thing, if people don't know, they probably do. You design a lot of the T-shirts, or most of the T-shirts for a lot of the guys, and Russell Center, Jason and Tyler weren't necessarily happy with the way you were doing it. And in one of the messages, they said that's the suave coming out in you. Is that true?
Yeah.
So what was leading to that, and what brought that on?
So the very first T-shirt I ever made, I made for Marcus Burke.
Yeah.
For him, I was like, I don't want any money. Just give me a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And gave him the print, and off he went. So one day, Jason messaged me for the Exhibition Park show, and he's like, I want to sell T-shirts of Greaser James Carr, and I want one of Steve Arsenal's, the XXL Army T-shirt.
Yep.
So I didn't know any better. I thought I was just sending him the files to sell the T-shirts for the boys.
Yep.
Come the day of the show, they sold out like crazy. Like everyone had one. And the next day I learned that the boys got $1 for every shirt. The shirts were being sold for $25.
Mm-hmm. And
I was like, oh. Like, I felt horrible. Like, I thought, oh my God, I just took money out of these guys' pockets. So, one Saturday morning, I got up, had my morning coffee. I was doing social media for Russell Center. Jason sent me a message. I need 4 T-shirts made. I want one for Julian Young, another one for Steve. Who were the other 2? Rick Stone, maybe? I can't remember who the other 2 were. And I wrote back to him, said, yeah, of course. I said, but are the boys getting the money for the sales? And that's when he said, that's the suave coming out of you.
What did he mean by that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Is it because you guys were friends?
Or Suave was a businessman.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
Sold his own T-shirts and made 100% profit.
Yeah.
Or that I talked back to Jason, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he said, your loyalty lies with me, not the boys. And I sat there and I stewed. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
But A, don't question my loyalty. B, I'm loyal to the boys, not you. So I just wrote back, thank you for the opportunity, but this is my last day at Russell Center. And I just quit.
What did he say?
Thank you.
Oh.
And just thank you. That was it. After 2 years of working with him and I thought I built this product up with all the social media and the posters and promoting and all the stuff. I worked my ass off. And yeah, he didn't even, no, I'm sorry, Dave, we'll keep you. No, he just, thanks. So that was it.
After you left, a whole bunch of other people started leaving. Titus left at one point. Marcus Burke left. Greaser, Julian. It was like a mass exodus of guys. What did you think when you saw all of them leaving as well?
I knew. We were being told if we worked for Russell Center, we couldn't work anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, are you going to pay me on the Saturdays that Russell Center is not running, but there's an IHW show?
Right.
So, me personally, it didn't matter because I wouldn't be getting booked anywhere.
Yeah.
But for the guys, I don't blame them, and it was just a matter of time.
Did you know before you started working with them that they didn't necessarily have the experience needed to run something like that, and they weren't listening to the people that did? Like when I ran a show, I had no experience and no business running it either, but I listened to Cowboy Mike Hughes, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's the guy I went to for advice. They weren't necessarily doing that.
Oh my God, no. And advice was being thrown to them. Like Christopher Daniels, every show would say, guys, this is what you should do. And they were like, no.
Yeah. I was there for one of the arguments between Tyler and Christopher Daniels, and I'm like, everything Daniels was saying was spot on correct. And then he just threw his papers in the air and was like, fuck it, I'm done. Because there was a curtain between
Was it Exhibition Park?
No, it was in Kentville.
Well, then you missed the big fight then.
It was in Kentville, and they were literally like, we were here, and the fans were here.
Yeah.
So I stepped through the curtain, I'm like, the guys can hear you, and then Daniels just looked at me, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm good now, and they just started screaming at us. That was like, the fans can hear you, right?
Exhibition Park was the worst fight I've ever seen of the two of them.
That's...
But again, it was Christopher Daniels trying to...
help them.
Yeah, and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't listen to them.
Yeah. Wow.
You had a locker room with Peter and Gary.
That's unreal to me.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're, like I said, they weren't wrestling promoters. They were TV producers.
Right.
And they were doing a TV show, and that's what they wanted.
Their television product was based on a wrestling show. I know I'm
Yeah.
talking to you about this, but their television show was based on a wrestling product. You think they would have wanted the wrestling product to be better for it to make their television show better,
Right.
to listen to the people that have done it for 20 years.
The night that Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles wrestled, and AJ was the IWGP champion at the time,
Yeah.
so he couldn't lose.
Right. Obviously. Yeah.
And he didn't. However, for TV purposes, Tyler's script had me announce Christopher Daniels as the winner.
Yeah.
So I reluctantly did it, and as soon as I got backstage, Daniels was waiting for me. And he said, "Come here." And I knew right away what it was about, but I went over and he said, "Who in the fuck won that match?" And I was like, "AJ." He's like, "Who did you announce to win that fucking match?" And I was like, "You." "Why in the fuck would you do that?" Like, she was just screaming at me.
Yeah.
And I hand him my TV script, ring announcing notes. He goes, "For fuck's sake." And he walked away.
Did they edit it for television
Yeah.
that AJ won?
Yeah.
Really? Or that Daniels won, I mean?
Yeah, something Dave Lowe was a referee, and he bent down to whisper something to me, and I think they blamed Dave, or I don't know how. I didn't watch Voltage,
Yeah.
so I don't know how.
I never got it. I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah, so, yeah, but to them, they were doing a TV show.
Right.
They didn't care about the wrestling.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right, and that's why they're not there anymore.
When did you start ringing? Was IHW or like the Maritime Wrestling All-Star Show? Which one did you start ring announcing for first after Wrestle Center? Had you ring announced for IHW while Wrestle Center?
No.
No, okay.
IHW reached out to me. I quit Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, and Kevin Tyler from IHW contacted me at 1 o'clock that afternoon
Okay.
and hired me.
Awesome. So did you know who he was at that point in time? Had you gone to any IHW shows?
I've never gone. I knew who Kevin Tyler was because, again, as Damien Cage, I cut my promo. And when I researched managers in the maritime scene, Kevin Tyler's name kept popping up because he was a manager at one time.
Yep. Tyler Zone. He was on the first couple of Wrestle Center shows.
Yeah. Well, the day I met Kevin, it was very intimidating because, again, I shit on Kevin Tyler as Damien Cage. So, I met Kevin at Wrestle Center when he came in. I think he was managing Kilgrave.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he only lasted a show.
Yeah, probably.
But Kevin messaged me and asked me to join IHW as a ring announcer and take over their social media. So I was unemployed for all of 3 hours. Oh,
that's sweet. How did you get involved with the Maritime Wrestling All-Star shows that were run by Cowboy Mike Hughes?
It was
in your hometown, or
it was in Amherst.
Ish, yeah.
He contacted me. He's like, "Are you in the area? We're running a show in Amherst, and we need a ring announcer." And I was like, "I'm not in the area, but I will be up." Like, I'm honored. Yeah. So I can't remember who I jumped in the car with. Maybe Shane and Steve. I'm not sure, but went up to the Amherst. First time I met Chris Dillon. First time I met Troy Merrick. They were on the show.
Was it the first time you met Mike too?
First time I met Mike.
Yeah.
First time was Peter on that show?
He was.
He was.
He wrestled
yes, because there's a funny parking lot story of Peter. And so I did that, and Mike was happy with my job, and
you obviously knew who Mike was ahead of time.
Oh yeah, of course.
What are your memories when you were first met him?
Such a locker room leader. I noticed right away a difference in locker rooms. Wrestle Center and the way Mike ran a locker room was like night and day. So that's the first thing I noticed. It was very professional, organized. Mike's lovely wife had the whole merch thing just all like organized and set up, and just well-run show.
Yeah. That was a question I was going to ask you about Wrestle Center too. Did you notice a difference in the locker room when Brody Steele wasn't there as opposed to when Brody Steele was there?
The first time I ever noticed what difference in the locker room Pete was there was the TCW show. Okay. And that's when I noticed he was the locker room leader, because I seen an incident that I was like, oh fuck yeah, okay, that's hardcore. Like, there's no bullshit in this locker room. It involved Jordan Camo was in the locker room when he wasn't on the show, and he was just Pete was just staring at him. I thought this is not going to end well. And then finally Pete's like, "Are you on this show?" And Jordan's like, no. He said, well, get the fuck out of this locker room. And I thought, okay. But the wrestling center locker rooms, just people moving around like crazy. Like there was no organized, and there was like scripts everywhere. Like all the tables had piles and piles of papers of who was supposed to say what and this and that, and there's no matchup. Sometimes you go in the locker room and there's like
the card. Yeah.
The card, yeah. There was none of that. People were running around. What are we doing? So, yeah. Then I go to a Mike Hughes show and it's like, boom, 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 boom. He had a team meeting before the show. Everyone gathered around.
Everyone does that. That Wrestle Center was the only place. The only place. Like Devin did that since day one that I went to his shows. Like that was the only place that never happened.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say the only place, but that happens more often than not. Like everywhere.
Yeah. I was very impressed.
Yeah. What were your initial impressions of meeting? You said you met Troy for the first time and Dynamite, Dylan Davis for the first time. What are your impressions of meeting those guys?
I loved Troy right away. He was just so quirky, and I just fell right in love with him. I loved him. Chris was very young, so I think
he was still in Newfoundland at the time. Living in Newfoundland at the time.
I've never even heard of him. Very quiet. I believe him and Troy had a match. Had something to do with a flag, and at the end of the match, something didn't happen right. I remember
Troy was very upset.
There was a lot of cursing in the locker room. So that was my first experience with Chris and Troy. But Chris was lovely. He was just very quiet and shy. And
when was the first IHW show you did? Was it the Frank Parker one?
No,
you were there before. That was the next year, right? That was 2016.
Yeah. I don't remember the date. I was just going up to a show to watch and do like some social media stuff, but I always bring my suit because that's the rule, right? You always bring your gear. And halfway up, when I got to the show, Captain came over and he said, Shane, their ring announcer, Shane-O, awesome guy, got food poisoning. And they wanted to know if I would ring announce. So that was my first. I can't remember. I couldn't even tell you what the main event or anything was. It was just so long ago.
Were you? Was it any different for you? That being the first time you were ring announcing for another promotion, like it's obviously run a lot different. Like what did you think of the difference?
It was organized. Again, very organized. Team meetings and everything beforehand. None of the fans knew who I was.
Right.
So. They were like, oh, we're going to go out and announce you. And they announced me as the social media ambassador of IHW. And you could hear a fart in the room. No one cared. But I went out and I did the best I could. And Shane-O messaged me. And he's like, I think I'm going to lose my job. So that was kind of cool. I guess I did all right. And it was only going to be a one-off.
Yeah, you became the permanent ring announcer for a while.
After that show.
Yeah, so what did Shane-O do?
Shane-O became a commentator, like the color commentator for their TV show.
Okay.
And then later became like a matchmaker, GM style character, I guess.
Like on the show?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Before I forget, you told me you know what IFWA stands for and IHWC stood for. I was told it once, and I don't remember it at all. I interviewed Tyler one time, and I forgot to ask him in the interview, and it's been bugging me for years. So what everyone wants to know, what does it stand for?
The big gold belt, IFWA, stands for, and I'm pretty sure, International Federation Wrestling Association.
Okay, that sounds yeah. And IHWC?
That was the knockoff IC belt.
Yeah.
And if you look on the belt, it says Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
So it's IC Wrestling W Champion. C.
Okay.
So if you say IHWC Champion, you're actually saying champion twice.
Yeah.
But that's all it was.
I thought it was weird that it was IHW and then C because there was an IHW.
Yep, that's what it was.
Nobody cared.
And later on, after I was gone from Wrestle Center, he made new belts.
Yeah, the new one was actually really nice. The letter gets
fell
stuck in
off.
Dick's head.
Yeah.
When JP hit him with it, like the A fell off and gets stuck in Dick's forehead. It was so,
I don't think
they were thick belts.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever brought out the Voltage TV
They
belt.
didn't.
It's beautiful.
No, they haven't run a show
I've seen
since.
it, but yeah.
Okay, so back to IHW. Yeah, I thought about that after. So back to IHW. You noticed a difference in how things were run. What are some of your memories? You're now driving from here to Moncton because they only ran Truro a couple of times. What are some of your memories of working for IHW at that point in time?
Instantly, that's when I first traveling the roads with the boys. And that's when I just loved that part of it. IHW would run like Campbellton and St. John and Fredericton. So like Campbellton was a 6-hour drive. So those rides, you learn so much riding with some of the boys. I loved that they didn't bring in names. I loved it was all locals. I found the atmosphere among all the locals was different. Sorry. I storytelling wise in the ring and stuff was great. I enjoyed working with Kevin. Like it was my first time doing small tours, so like staying in hotels overnight with the boys, and I survived partying at Julian's.
Not sleeping ever.
Not sleeping ever. That's when I really started not becoming one of the boys, because I would never say that about myself, but that's when I really started gelling with them, and you know.
When did you start working for TCW? Was it that fall too?
TCW, Cyril contacted me. TCW was the enemy back when I was at Wrestle Center. God forbid, Jason and them don't ever go to TCW, don't mention their name or whatever. But never met Cyril before. He contacted me and he's like, I'm starting up again. I'd like for you to ring announce and do my social media. So I said, sure.
Awesome. They brought in guys like Tyson Dukes and
I love Tyson Dukes.
Cody Diener.
Yep.
What are your memories of those guys?
Tyson Dukes and Cody Diener are probably the two of the nicest people I've ever met in the business. Yeah. I can't say enough about Tyson Dukes. The show wise was another.
Why did you think they didn't draw as well? Because the talent was fantastic.
I think TCW had a bad reputation.
Yeah.
I think. 2, they were running in the same building as Wrestle Center, and Wrestle Center fans were hardcore Wrestle Center fans. Yeah. I mean, there's fans to this day still, they won't go to a local show. They're just waiting for a Wrestle Center show. Yeah. So they're missing out on all this great stuff. Cyril wasn't the greatest at... Like the day of the show, I don't know how many times I said, where's Cyril? Yeah. Where's Cyril? Where's Cyril? I need him. He rented this elaborate giant screen sound system company to come in and all this stuff, and I just felt we didn't need that for the first show. All that money could have been put into promoting the show.
Advertising.
So, yeah, for sure, because the card was stacked.
Yeah, the talent was unreal.
Awesome. Like, Chris Cook. And
it was Chris,
Kirk
Mike,
Obey, Pete, Mike.
Dukes was on it, I believe. Steen. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So I believe it was January 2016. Steve Arsenal just left UCW, or just left Wrestle Center for UCW. I'm having a hard time talking today. I have a speech impediment, just in case you're wondering why I'm stuttering. I have a lisp,
so I'm a ring announcer.
So Steve Arsenal left Wrestle Center for UCW. Greaser left Wrestle Center for UCW. They had announced Greaser was wrestling a former heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Was turned out to be Steve Arsenal. You were, I don't think you were announced as ring announcing. Were you a guest ring?
I was surprised.
You were the big surprise.
I know, right?
What are your thoughts when you heard that was going to happen, and how did you get that spot?
Steve.
Okay.
Steve wanted the match to seem like super special. It was one of Joey's 800th retirement.
He's still here.
I love Joey. Two of my good friends were wrestling. It seemed like a big deal. He wanted me to come in as a special ring announcer just to make it feel more special. So he contacted Chuck. Chuck contacted me. And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. I'd love to do it. I love being in the ring with Joey and Steve. So, that's how I got it. And then I showed up early to help set up the ring, even though I was only doing one match. That's just me. And that was my first interaction with Devin.
Yeah.
And I came out for the match, and surprisingly, I got a huge pop. So it was the first time I did a Halifax show since I quit Russell Center too.
Right.
So I was super excited for that. So and then I announced the main event, and that was my first time ever in a UCW ring.
Had you met Chuck before at that point?
I've seen Chuck at shows. I used to go to UCW shows of fans, and there was 20 people there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't hard not to see Chuck.
Was that the first one Madison did?
What? The UCW
first
show?
UCW show. Do you remember? Because they were drawing.
Show?
Yeah, I think it was because they were drawing 30 people, and then they booked her, and they drew 275. I'm pretty sure that was her first UCW show, at least in Halifax.
She may have. I don't remember.
What was your first interactions with Chuck like? As working for him?
Good. I got nothing but good to say about Chuck. I heard a lot of stories, but I'm the type that I don't make opinions about people until I meet them myself.
Right, treat people how they treat you.
Yeah,
right?
I heard so much about Chuck. I was like, no, I wasn't around back then. I'm going to make my impression of him when I meet him. So he was good. He was busy, flying around, doing stuff, but. To me, it was all Devin's show, really.
Yeah,
I didn't really see Chuck.
Devin Chittick was the booker for UCW then. He'd been doing it for a little while.
Yeah.
What was your first interactions with him like?
Again, I heard a lot of bad stories about Devin, and I said, no, I'm gonna meet him myself, and we'll go from there. And I came in early to help set up the ring, and Devin was over there writing in a book or whatever. So I went over and I said, hey, Devin, I'm Dave Boyce. And he goes, I don't know why in the fuck you're booked. No one knows who you are. Yeah. And I was like, look, I'm just here. I'm booked. I'm here to help set up and stuff. So, and that was it. That was his greeting to me. So I thought, you fucking asshole. So then when I came out and got a huge pop, I was like, yeah. People do know who I am. So and then when I went backstage, the first person to meet me was Devin, who said, hey, you should have me on your podcast. And I thought, well, I thought you didn't know who I was. Yeah. That was my first interaction with Devin.
Have you had any dealings or anything with him since then?
Yeah, he was on a couple of UCW shows.
Oh, that's right. He did the summer tour and the Matt Hardy tour.
Yeah, and they brought in him and Rumble. They pitched, I think Burke was going to make them into the Revival type tag team. And Devin was there with his children, and he was a lovely man that day. Yeah. And I talked to him, and I said hi to his daughter or daughters, I can't remember. Totally different guy. Yeah. So I don't know if I just caught him on a bad day, but you never forget your first impressions, right? So it's always in the back of my mind that Devin was an asshole to me. So.
To be fair, though, from his perspective, do you think, why would he assume people know who you are? Do you ever think No,
but however, saying that people bring in people all the time, I would never greet them by saying,
No, I get
who
that.
The fuck are you?
No, you should never. No, totally get that. But that happens a lot in wrestling too. Should it happen? Probably not, but it does. Mm-hmm. But just the comment alone. Yeah. Do you think that he had, from his perspective, because he probably didn't know who you were?
Well, he knew I had a podcast, so he must have knew something about me.
Okay.
I'm a people person, so I don't care if I think no one will know you or not. I would never greet you.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking about the greeting. The greeting, you mean just the greeting's garbage. Just the
why? Yeah. I don't know. Chuck, Steve, and Joey wanted me.
Yeah, so it's not your place. You're just doing what
I'm asked to do a job.
You are asked to show up.
What am I going to say? No, because people might not know who I am. Right. I'll stay home.
I'm just playing devil's advocate to the other side of the question. I'm not.
I'm sure Devin's a lovely man.
Yeah. I get along fine with him.
Yeah, of course.
So they UCW. Did you ring announce the Matt Hardy tour as well, or was that Dave Nyquist?
I don't know. It was Dave. Yeah, Dave Nyquist was a ring announcer at the time.
So what were you doing? Were you working with UCW at that point?
Nope.
No? Did you go to any of the shows?
I didn't go to the Matt Hardy tour, no.
You didn't go to any of the shows? You didn't go to the...
No, first...
how come? Because you were friends with...
I was working.
That was the... Oh, okay. I was like, Burke...
I wanted to go, but...
Burke's I think, his first real tour with UCW.
There was talks of bringing me in.
Yeah.
But just schedule-wise, I couldn't.
Okay.
I did the poster for them and stuff. I got to start.
Yeah, it was a separate post. Devin did the first two, I think.
Yeah,
and then you did the separate
generic one that they always did. Yeah.
And then you did the one with Matt Hardy
and Burke
for Halifax.
Yeah.
So at that point, Marcus Burke started taking over the booking for UCW after that show. Did he have any contact with you about bringing you into UCW because you were on that next tour?
Yeah. As soon as he started booking, he wanted me in. There were some issues at IHW that I was ready to leave. There was some stuff going on backstage. And then at the same time, Burke was leaving. He's like, join me, UCW. UCW.
That wasn't until like a year and a bit later.
Yeah, I was at IHW for over a year.
Yeah, but that was like 2017 that he left, and this is 2016. So that was like a year and a bit later.
He didn't take UCW's booking until after he left IHW, right?
No.
Okay.
He was working with you. He was doing both up until the fall.
I was too for a bit.
Up until the fall of 2017 when he had
like I said, I'm awful with dates.
He had that cage match. He was doing it for about a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah, because I was with UCW and IHW for a bit too. You're right.
Look, like the cage match with Titus was his last match.
Yeah. I was still there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but
that was 2017.
He wanted me to come along too and be part of it, so I did the social media and but I said I don't want to be a ring announcer. They have one. I would never say tell Dave Nyquist to take a leap. I'm taking over. So then they pitched the idea of me being a GM style character and stuff. So I said, yeah, I'll do whatever I'm told. But so
how did you like doing that?
I was nervous at first. I debuted, I believe, in Kentville. Dylan Bostic and his girlfriend were out in the ring, and I came out.
Raylan, is that?
Raylan, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah. Both are awesome people. That was the Rikishi tour.
Yeah. That was like July or August 2016.
Yeah, it was first time coming out in different suit. Like I always wear black when I ring now, so I'd like to be different. I wear a gray suit, and it was stupid, but but yeah, it was people cheered, so we thought, okay, we'll go with that. We'll try something different. I've only ring announced in wrestling, so this is going to be something different for me. So.
Towards the end of 2016, they announced that they were going to do the 11th UCW anniversary show at the Halifax Civic Center, a much bigger arena than...
10th anniversary.
Oh, 10th anniversary, right, sorry. Much bigger arena than they have used in many years. He had done shows in the big form, but that was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years before that. What did you think... about them running the Civic Center? Did you think that they were going to be able to draw as many people as they did at that point?
Well, I knew the three of us, when I say the three of us, me, Chuck, and Burke, I thought we were a great team. Like, we all knew what we had to do and stuff, and it showed the attendance. The attendance were growing up. The Facebook page was getting likes like crazy. So when Chuck said the anniversary show was going to be at the Civic Center, I had hesitations, but we rolled up our sleeves. We promoted it like crazy. Did radio, which I think is huge. And
what were your summer responsibilities for that show, for that tour?
All the social media promotions. I did posters. We postered everywhere. Just promoting the show on Facebook and Twitter and sharing it on like not just on our page, but I would join like every buy and sell Facebook. Like if anybody's looking for a couch, message me because I'm still a member of every buy and sell Facebook page in Nova Scotia. But yeah, so and then I started hearing pre-sale tickets. And I was like, wow, we might have a chance of drawing a really big crowd. I knew Wrestle Center did it with Mick Foley. They drew 800.
Yeah.
So I knew it was possible. But yeah, I was quite pleased.
That was your phone. I was like, what is it? My cameras don't make that noise.
So.
What did you think when 1,200 and whatever it was people showed up for that show?
It was crazy. I loved it for the boys. The boys were so excited.
Yeah.
As I was too. We were doing a whole angle with me and Steve, and I was screwing him over all the time.
Oh, you were a ref on that
I was
show.
a special referee.
What are your how was that idea pitched to you?
It was planned for a while. I know each show we were leading up to it, me screwing Steve a little bit each time by mistake, and then so it was pitched to me. I was going to be a special referee. We announced it. I went out and bought a ref shirt.
I remember, and you were on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened?
So, night of the show, Steve versus
Brody
Steele was supposed to happen right after intermission. Next thing I know, second match was now Steve and Brody. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in my suit. And they're like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Ready for what?" And they're like, "Our match is next." I was like, "What? I don't have time to get my ref gear." And they're
Yeah.
like, well, "Just go out in your suit." So here I am after spending money on a ref shirt. And so now I'm out there in a friggin' suit. I roll up my sleeves. It looks ridiculous, but it was what it was.
There was, you were like the special enforcer on the outside of the ring, like Mike Tyson at WrestleMania 14. Right?
Yeah, because
there was an actual
They
ref.
didn't want me in the ring because I wasn't experienced enough. and I remember in the locker room before the match, Pete was like, "Whatever you do not lay a hand on us." Like,
reffing your first match and having Pete beat in that match.
Yeah, right.
It'd be kind of nerve wracking.
Yeah, it was. But again, I said earlier about working in front of a large crowd as opposed to a small crowd.
Yeah.
Easy.
No problem. I was going to ask you about that.
Easy
What did
peasy.
you? No difference for
Yeah,
you? Or
I've done a show
for you?
I've done a show in Greenwood where there was 9 fans,
Right.
and it's so hard.
Yeah.
1,200.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well,
like,
why is that difference for you? Like, why are so many more? Because usually it'd be the opposite, right?
what you do in the ring, you do for a reaction.
Yeah.
So to get a reaction from 9 guys, as opposed to 1,200, is totally different.
Right.
And
you can hear every one of the 9 guys.
Oh
right?
yeah, and what they're saying about you.
That's what I mean.
But when you're in the ring, I know it might sound weird, but you don't really know. You don't hear. I don't know how to explain it, but it's.
Some people get like tunnel vision or whatever, and
yeah.
everything is like fuzzy on
right.
the outside, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And what your experiences? Like Bushwhacker Luke was brought in, Kelly Klein, Cuban Assassin, Leo Burke, Ryback. Were all brought in for that show. What are some of the memories? Was that the first time you met Leo Burke as part of a show? I know he had been here before.
I met
not your Grand Prix days, but like since being involved.
No, the first time I met Leo was in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the,
So I already,
at the CAC?
yeah, I already knew him and became friends with him and stuff.
What about Cuban?
First time I met him was on
that
that
like?
tour. Hard to understand him. Lovely man. I spent a little bit of time with him at the Greenwood show, just sitting out on the deck talking to him, but I didn't really bother him a lot.
Right.
Probably because I couldn't really understand what he was saying. But yeah, nice guy. I love Leo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was it like meeting Leo? Like a lot of young wrestling fans, he's their hero, right? Like still to this day, I see posts like Leo Burke's my hero from a lot of the older fans.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like meeting him? That was the first time I ever met him. Was that show?
Yeah, he's such a lovely man.
I think. Yeah.
And he's an early riser like I am. So the week that we're in Las Vegas, we call it the Leo Bar now, actually, because every morning he would be sitting at the corner of the bar having his coffee or whatever. So I would come down in the morning too, and it would just be me and Leo.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I love those mornings, and to this day now, when we go to the CAC, we call it the Leo Bar.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So nope, he made us go to this really expensive restaurant to have his favorite steak, and me and Justin
in Vegas or here?
In Vegas.
Okay.
We were like, well, we got to go. Leo Burke, and the steak was $32
American.
and it was just a big slab of meat, no potatoes, no nothing. And Leo, he just loved it, so we were like, we got to do it. But yeah, no, he's a super nice guy. So then when Chuck brought him into the tour, I was like super excited to see him again, and he remembered me, which I was like, yeah.
What about Kelly Klein?
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
To this day, I still talk to Kelly. She was great. I thought Madison grew a lot that tour with working with Kelly. Ryback was jerk.
I've met him a couple of times. The first time I did the same thing as you. I was like, these guys, he does this every day of his life. He's going to have a bad day at some point in time. So I chalked up the first meeting with him to him having a bad day.
Yeah.
And then I met him the second time. I'm like, nah, that's just him. He's a dick.
Yeah.
Like,
of all the names that come in through Wrestle Center and all that, like I just love them. Like ICW, I spent 2 days with Jake. But in Wrestle Center, like AJ was awesome. Samoa Joe was fantastic. I had dinner with him and talked about camping and stuff.
Yeah.
Like lovely man. Michael Elgin was the only person I didn't care for.
Yeah.
And then Ryback was.
Yeah.
He just, man.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason.
And it wasn't like I
does.
tried.
Yeah.
But he locked himself in a room, and I had to go get him. And in fact, he had a leather jacket on, and his shoulder tassel was unsnapped and hanging. And I have OCD, so it was driving me crazy. So when I had to go get him to bring him to do the promo in the ring where he was going to announce that he couldn't wrestle or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm going to fix your jacket. No, I can do it. I didn't do that. Well, he wasn't going to, but...
What did you think when he said he was going to come in, but he wasn't going to wrestle now? I don't know if this part is true, but I've heard he wrestled the night before.
He wrestled the night after.
Night after? Is that what it was?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
I hated it. I hate the amount of money that they spent to bring him in.
Yeah.
I really didn't think he was the reason why 1,200 people were there.
I don't think so either.
And then the promo he cut, I hate it because he mentioned there was a sick child in the audience with cancer or something, so to get the fans to he never met any children in the audience because I walked him from the room that he was in to the ring.
That's crazy.
So I thought, well, that was kind of weird.
I thought it was awesome that Riddick Stone was bigger than the big guy. That's great.
And Riddick Stone still talks about that to this day.
All right, and Bushwhacker Luke, he had been here a bunch before, but was that the first time you had met him as a backstage role? What are your thoughts on him? He
was so funny because I don't know if he thought I was the actual GM, but every match, who booked that, mate? Why did you book it like that, mate? And I'd be like, well, I didn't really book it. I'm not the real GM. Next match would happen. Why'd you do that like that, mate? Why are you main eventing with that match, mate? And at the end, I just gave up. I was like, I don't know, Luke. But no, nice guy. He came in the locker room with all the boys and gave everyone advice and took pictures and talked to everybody. So yeah, nice guy.
Now, guy I forgot to mention, pretty big name. Jake the Snake Roberts was here for Wrestle Center. IHW announced him at relatively the same time. What are your memories of Jake the Snake?
I had to spend 2 days with him. I was his driver. So I spent 48 straight hours with Jake Roberts and his daughter. Lovely. I love Cody. It was interesting. He's a grouchy man until there's people around, and then he's a totally different man. He's a sweetheart. We did an autograph signing. He grumbled the whole way going there, but then when he got there, he was so nice. And anybody that came in with any type of like handicap or illness, he gave them all this stuff for free, and he was just a nice man. I had to take him to Miramichi to autographs signing at Jungle Gyms. And
just for IHW or Wrestle Center?
For IHW.
Okay.
I wasn't with Wrestle Center then.
Okay.
So it was just with IHW. It was their anniversary shows. So if you've ever been to Miramichi, there's two ways to get to Miramichi. There's two bridges. One's walking and one's driving. So I put on my GPS, and for some reason I must have hit the wrong button in the walking GPS. So we're driving, we get to the bridge, and of course we can't cross it, and we're late. And Robert starts cutting a promo in the car to me. You fucking stupid. He was joking, but he was like shitting on me. So I was like, go around, get to the other bridge. By then it's pouring rain. Get to the Jungle Gyms. I was like, I'm just going to take you to the door so you don't get wet, and then I'll go park the car. So he goes in. I'm going to park the car. While he's in Jungle Gyms, he's cutting a promo on me that he's late because of me. And when I walk in, there's like 150 fans there, and they all just boo me. But yeah, Jake was great. I was with him the morning. I had to take him to the airport. He had a Russell Center show in Cape Breton. And me and him and his daughter went to Jean's in Moncton for breakfast. Best place ever for breakfast. It was around 6 a.m. And his daughter was on Facebook just scrolling, whatever. And all of a sudden she said, "Motherfucker." And he's like, "What?" And Jason Mosier had posted a picture that Damien the Snake had arrived in Cape Breton. Well, he didn't ask Jake's permission to bring a snake in. So he was livid, and he was going to cancel, and he bitched and complained the whole way about it. Like, he was so mad. I dropped him off at the airport, and I don't know what happened at Russell Center, Cape Breton, but I guess it was a big...
He flew from New Brunswick to here?
I drove him to the Halifax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we drove from New Brunswick to Halifax, the airport. I dropped them off, and he went to Cape Breton for Russell Center, and he wasn't. I know he wasn't happy with them when he left me, so I heard...
He wasn't happy the first time he was here for them, but you weren't there?
No. First time I met Jack was for IHW.
Finish your story, then I'll tell you what he did.
No, I just heard afterwards the kerfuffle that happened in Cape Breton, and he was refusing to do everything they did, and he's like, and then I heard from other people there what he was saying. So
yeah, he was supposed to.
I got blamed for it, regardless.
That's great. Why did you get blamed?
Are
you brainwashing Jake the Snake?
Yeah, apparently. Because when he went there and he was so mad and stuff, he's like, "Yeah, you're a former ring announcer. Warn me about you." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't. I just was telling him during breakfast my experience with Jason."
Right.
But yeah, so
the first time he was here, he came out in front of the entire crowd and he was like, thought I was coming here to wrestle for you guys, but they don't want me to wrestle. I guess there's no time for me on the card here tonight." He's like, "So I can't perform, so I'm just going to come out here and talk." And I'm like, whoa.
Was that Russell Center?
Yeah. Oh. That was the very first time he was here.
Okay.
And then...
See, I was gone by then.
Yeah, and then the next time... He wrestled James in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
Tommy Starr in Cape Breton. And Tommy Starr went with them with all the ideas that Jason and Tyler gave him. And then Jake was like, "We're not doing any of that."
Yeah, Tommy was supposed to go over, and Jake agreed to it at first.
Yeah.
But then when they brought the snake in and was doing stuff behind his back, he had no patience for that. Back then too, I got blamed for everything Russell Center.
Right.
Everything. They were bringing Jake in for a speaking tour.
Yeah.
They didn't promote it, and they drew 17 people. And the next day, they told Jake that night it was because Dave Boyce, ran around Halifax pulling all the posters down.
Of course you did. Because that's how much time you have on your hands.
I had so much time on my hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just back then. It was so stupid. There was a guy on Facebook, Fred Sullivan.
Yeah. Who was that guy?
Me, apparently. But I got blamed for all that.
Yeah.
What I've heard, it was Tyler just causing shit.
That's funny.
But I don't know. But I got blamed for everything back then that Russell Center was doing. That if something failed, it was Dave Boyce did it. Dave Boyce said this. Dave Boyce said that. It was...
What did you think? I mean, I believe Russell Center had Jake booked the first time they were here, and then IHW was doing their big anniversary show that September. But IHW found out that Russell Center had him booked, and then decided to announce their show first, even though the Russell Center show was happening first. What are your thoughts and memories of that?
Well, I'm the one that had to do it.
Right,
so.
I know.
I'm told. I do what I'm told.
Yeah.
So Kevin's like, got wind that Jake was coming, and we got to announce it first. We got to be first out of the gate and steal their steam. So we announced Jake before they got a chance to.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did your angle with the American Patriots start? Was that like the fall before the 2018 show?
No, it was the...
Was it that same month? Was the spring? It was before the show?
Yeah.
Okay. So, during all of 2016 and all of 2017, you're working for both IHW and UCW.
Yeah.
At any point in time then, did anybody come up and tell you you shouldn't be working for UCW if you're working for IHW and vice versa?
No.
That was never brought up to you?
No, and I made it clear to the IHW people that I would never tell them anything UCW is doing, and I told the UCW people I would never tell. Don't ask me what IHW is doing. I just won't tell you. And for the longest time, I was doing both their stuff. I was like I was so busy.
Yeah. So the end of 2017 come. Or what's your opinion on the word exclusivity in pro wrestling?
I hate it. I hate it. When I was in Wrestle Center, that's when I first learned about it. You couldn't go to TCW and UCW, or Wrestle Center and TCW had this awful feud. You couldn't even go to their shows. I was told I couldn't even go to their shows, but I was new, so that must be the norm. So I wouldn't dare go to a TCW show and show my disloyalty to my boys at Wrestle Center. I would poster Wrestle Center one time in Clayton Park, and I put a poster on the pole, and McDonald's is right there in Lacewood. I was going to go in and have a bite to eat. Went in for a bite to eat. While I'm sitting there, a car pulls up. It's Cyril, his brother from TCW, jumping out and ripping down the wrestle that I just hung. So it was bad back then, and that's when I learned about the whole "you're exclusive" deal. And I didn't agree with it then. I certainly don't agree with it now, and it's brought his ugly head back, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that, I'm sure.
You said you don't agree with it, but you did it for a while too. You wrote that you were no longer working with IHW doing their social media and stuff. You were just going to be with UCW. Why did you do it?
Why did I leave IHW?
Why did you leave IHW and just work like doing that stuff?
Well, I was leaving IHW because of a few things that were happening behind the scenes that I don't think the fans need to know. But I didn't agree with it morally and stuff. I just decided I'm going to leave. I wasn't happy at the end. Kevin was very distant too. Like, he'd only write me like if he needed something, and I'd be like, "Oh, hi to you too." Like, but there was some stuff happening back like behind the scenes. So I just decided I'm just going to stay with UCW for a bit. They're in my hometown. I did other little shows, like I did New Breed, and I did.
Right, everybody does those ones.
I never wrote.
It's only like, you didn't write anything.
I never wrote exclusive. I would never use that word. Okay. So I didn't ever write.
But you announced that you were
leaving
IHW, and you were going to be doing the social media and stuff now for UCW. So it was never said to you that you have to leave IHW.
Oh God, no! I left. I quit on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even at that point, it was never brought up to you while you were working with UCW up until you left now.
Not back then.
No. I mean, up until you left now or last year.
Yeah.
Was it said to you at that point in time, like all of 2018, for like the quote unquote big promotions, you were just doing UCW? Was it ever said to you at that point that you had to just work for UCW?
No, never heard those words for the first bid.
Okay.
It did. Like I said, it's not till the end of it that it started. When UCW expanded to Moncton, that's when it started.
You, at the end of 2017, Marcus Burke, who you were really good friends with at that point in time, was announced that he was just going to be exclusive to UCW. What were your thoughts when you heard that he was leaving IHW? Had you already left yet? Because it happened around the same time, right?
I left at the end of December. It was. I stayed till the last show. It was December. I stopped doing our social media. So I think Burke has already.
I think it was the show before that. Maybe?
Yeah, because I was there when Burke did his farewell speech in the ring and stuff.
But what were your thoughts when he announced he was just going to be UCW? Had you known his plans?
I knew. Yeah, of course, because we were very, very close. So, and he wanted me to come to UCW as well. But
he never said to you have to leave here?
Oh, God, no. Okay. But he knew, but as friends, we would chit-chat back and forth about random stuff, and I would say about my problems with IHW. Well, I'm just going to leave and stuff. So,
So start at the beginning of 2018, he announced that he was going to start going to Moncton with UCW. What did you think when he announced that he was going to do that? Because at that point in time, UCW had never run there. They'd never run the same. And you guys were going to run the exact same building as IHW.
Yeah. I had hesitations at it. I didn't really agree with it. However, I had nothing to do with the company, like running it business-wise or whatever. I was just a hired talent like everyone else. I went because I was booked. I didn't say I don't agree with that.
Right.
Well, once they start running the Moncton shows, that's when you start hearing if you work here, you can't work there. That's when it started again. So that's why like Julian and Titus and all them were no longer UCW.
Yeah, Julian left first, and then Titus left after the April tour.
Yeah.
What did you think when UCW lost those two guys? Because in my opinion,
huge loss.
those guys, especially Titus. I mean, Julian's awesome, but Titus is like a different breed, right? Like
people would go to shows just to see Titus.
Yeah, 100%.
So I knew as soon as I heard Titus was done, I was like, ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And I love having Titus around.
Yeah.
And Julian too.
Yep. Oh no, nothing against Julian.
Yeah.
I mean, and Julian himself, I've had this conversation with him. Will tell you that Titus is like the main event guy, and he's the mid card guy. But like Titus is like a big deal around here, and he's so talented, so good. It's
and like
ridiculous.
the first year, it was great at UCW. Like we had everyone.
Everyone was going back and forth.
Exactly, and there was not a problem. Not a problem.
Oh, I forgot to mention, Abyss was on that show too, the UCW show. What do you remember of him?
Awesome. I love him.
That just came in my head.
No. Lovely man. I was really shocked because, again, I only seen him on TV, and he's a giant monster of a man, but then he was so soft-spoken and polite. And, whenever we bring people in, we always go out to this karaoke bar in Timberlake and Kelly Klein and all that. And you just get to know them, and they're just... Chris is an awesome guy. Very happy that he's got a job now with WWE.
Yeah, he's backstage now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Him and Sanjay Dutt, see that guy?
Yeah. Well deserved.
Yeah. The fall of 2017, you announced War Games was coming to the UCW 11th anniversary show. Mm-hmm. That match changed 100% from the guys you announced that were going to be in it to the guys that were actually in it.
Yep.
What did you think when they first told you that they were going to do the War Games concept here?
I thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the VIP show.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So, Chuck gets an idea, and you can't tell him no.
Yeah.
So he said, "We're gonna have a War Games." And I was like, "Oh my God!" He doesn't even own a cage, let alone two cages. But I love him. Right to the last minute, they were building it, and he did it. Now the angle going into it, we announced it so far in advance.
It's like 5 or 6 months or something.
Yeah. And it was the whole Team Chuck versus Team Dave gimmick. He was supposed to be a heel owner, and I was going to be the face GM, but then after one show, Chuck didn't like being a heel, so that was thrown out the window. Then we announced our teams. So Chuck wanted all the big names on his team, of course. So he got Congo Kong, Sin Bodhi, and I got Frankie and Drew Onyx, who was going by Abdul the Butcher Jr. Yeah. So, they're going to love it. The fans are going to love it. So we're going to go out and announce our teams. And we go, and Chuck's like, Sin Bodhi, yay! And I go, Frankie the Mobster. And those like people in Springfield were like, who?
Super talented dude. But
I know, right?
Nobody knows who he is here.
Yeah. Right? And again, this was months in advance. It made no sense to the story. Why would Frankie the Mobster come to help me in my battle with Chuck Martin? Yeah. But it is what it is. And then within a week, Frankie backed out, Drew backed out, then Abyss and...
because Abyss and Titus were announced.
Congo Kong, Congo Kong found out they had a TV taping, so they couldn't come to the show, so that was canceled. Everything was canceled, but the War Games was still going on, so then all the locals were chucked in.
What did you think that the cage was going to show up that day? Because nothing against Chuck or UCW or anything, but a lot of stuff gets announced in indie wrestling that never ends up happening. Do you think it was going to happen?
Nope. And I would contact Chuck every day because I was a nervous wreck over it. I was a GM, but I was doing a lot of stuff backstage. I was like micromanaging the shows. So I would contact him. How far along are they with the cage? Oh yeah, they're almost done. So I was like, yeah, but do you have pictures of it? Do you have proof? No, they'll do it. The day of the show, it still wasn't there. And then they finally rolled in. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. Yeah. And it didn't fit the ring. Yeah.
But they set it on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got the second ring from Dana. I had to measure our ring, measure Dana's ring. They match perfect.
Didn't he have to leave and go back and get a post?
He showed up with the ring, except for 2 of the corner posts. So then he had to drive all the way back to get those. And then we put... God love it. I mean, the cage looked awesome.
Yeah.
growing up, War Games was like one of those moments, like one of those matches where it only happened once in a while. So to see a double cage put together, it was pretty amazing.
What had you met Sinbodi and stuff before out in Vegas?
Yeah. I met Nick and his real name, and his brother.
Yeah, he used to wrestle your Action Wrestling back in the day.
Yeah. Great guy. He stayed here. He's awesome.
Yeah. On that show, you did an angle with the American Patriot. Mm-hmm. You guys were doing a little bit of stuff like
on
before.
That show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wrestled Madison Miles, and then you came in and took a chair shot from right. You covered Madison and he hit you with a chair.
Yeah. So I put Troy in the War Games to protect me from his stalking.
Yeah.
Because we started the stalking angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then later on, was it that show?
It was. Yeah. It was Madison's last.
Him and Madison's last show.
Yeah, it was Madison's. She worked the next night against James Ellsworth.
Yes.
But that was her second last show.
Yeah, I knew she was leaving.
What were your thoughts when they pitched you the whole stalking angle and then found out you were going to take a chair shot from Troy?
So I didn't even pitch the angle.
Okay.
We had a show in Spryfield, and Troy went out and was cutting a promo, and I just happened to be standing by the ring announcing table, and he just saw me and he started cutting one on me, like, you could be next, Boyce. And then I think that's where it grew from. So then he pitched the idea to Burke. Burke liked it, and we wanted to do something different. We wanted an angle that lasted a long period of time that told a story. So we started doing shot the first video where he was stalking me at the grocery store, and then he did one with me and my girlfriend at Tim Hortons, and we just periodically, and then each show we just did a little bit of stuff, like he pushed me at one show, and but then the Madison match, the chair shot was pitched to me, and I'm always game. I'll do anything. Whatever you tell me, I'll do it. And we went out and did it, and it hurt like hell. Like, there's nothing fake about a chair shot.
Was the plan always to have a match with him at some point?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did you think of that? Is that something that you've always wanted to do, or was that just...
As a fan, yeah, of course. Yeah. I was hesitant about actually doing it because I didn't want to embarrass Troy.
Right.
That was my only goal. I didn't want to embarrass him.
How much training and stuff did you do leading up to the match?
Me and him would go to the training ring that we have, and we did it one night.
Okay, so you never like had it. Never. It was just the one time.
We laid out the match.
Yeah, but I mean, like training wise, you never went to the school and trained like how to take a bump or anything like that. No.
No.
Would you have liked to?
Yes, of course.
Why didn't you?
When you watch the match, I don't take a bump.
Right, and I guess realistically, why would you?
Right, and that's why.
Do you know what I mean? But for your own like safety, was anything explained to you?
I always go to the training gym anyway.
Yeah.
And watch the boys. So I'm always taking it. But when we went to work out the match, Troy was awesome. Like, oh my god, like. He carried me through the whole thing. Yeah. But he taught me positioning in the ring and where to be and how to hit him with a chair. But yeah, and even Troy doesn't know this, but after we were leaving, and I was pretending like I was leaving, after he left, I went back in.
Okay.
And set up my camera, and I did the match by myself.
Oh, okay.
And to this day, I can still tell you exactly. Like, I memorized the match. Awesome. And I filmed it. And then I went home, and then I watched it over and over and over. And then the day of the show, he's like, let's go in the ring and see what you remember. And I went in the ring, and he's like, boop, 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 boop. And he's like just standing there going, okay, we're good.
You should be a wrestler. What did you never had any aspirations to wrestle?
Oh my god, no. I'm 40. I'm
no, 46. I don't mean now. I mean like
never. No, look at me. Yeah. The only gym I go to is Jungle Gym. So, I God love the guys that do it. I don't know how they do it, but no, never. I want to be a manager. And after the whole Damien Cage thing, I reached out to Gary and I reached out to Kevin to see if they had any wrestling schools for stuff just like managing and refereeing and stuff, and they said no.
Yeah, there's never been really anything like that here.
No.
So match time comes. What's going through your head? It's a pretty big moment for you.
Oh my god, yeah,
career.
Super nervous.
Yeah.
But again, I was only my only concern was embarrassing Troy.
Okay.
And I would leave him alone, like he was sitting in the. There was an idea they were gonna. I was gonna blade. Thank God I didn't, because there weren't. We were waiting to see how many people showed up and stuff. But that was a possibility. Table spot, I was super nervous about because we didn't gimmick it at all.
Yeah.
Chair shots, I already took one, so I knew what I was expecting, but
hit you a few times.
He hit me a lot harder than I thought. But yeah, I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
And someone even commented, they're like, you haven't sat down once. I was like, I can't. And I had like big T's army boots on, and there was 2 sizes too big for me, so like my feet felt like cement blocks.
Right.
But yeah, no, I was ready. I knew the match from beginning to end. I knew I wasn't going to forget a spot, and we went out there and we did it.
Walk us through what it's like to have a match with someone that's never had a match before against Troy's very experienced. Mm-hmm. He's been over to England a few times. Mm-hmm. Walk us through what it's like to be in there from your perspective, being a fan of it your whole life, and now you're in there doing it.
It was a lifelong dream. I had a lot of friends and family there for it. Stepped through the ropes. They announced me as a participant in a match, which I was like inside my head going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm 45 years old and I'm doing this. Just the fans cheering me, which good, which I was hoping for. Super nervous, but I'm confident, and I knew I was going to do my part in the match. Yep. So again, I told Troy before the match, I was like, if I do anything wrong, just have to let me know. But I'm pretty sure I'm ready for this. So it was exciting. It was. And I knew I was about to get my ass kicked.
What feedback did you get from Troy after the match?
He loved it. He said I did everything right. Chair shots were brutal. My back was marked up.
There's a picture out there somewhere.
Yeah. If you ever watch Mike Miles' footage of the match, the second chair shot, you're in focus and you went, oh, the Gaetan.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember hearing them, and Mike was in the crowd, I think, for that. Yeah, and me and Gaetan were like a foot away, and it sounded disgusting.
Yeah, no, and after the match, we were in the locker room. Troy was watching it because it was, I don't know, someone put it out live on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
And the way he arched his chair almost touched his ankles. And the first one stung me. It hurt. But the second one, if you watch the video, I'm not even moving. It just shot right through my legs, and I thought, I'm dead. I'm dead. And the other little known fact about that match is I was knocked out cold in that match.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I thought you had mentioned that to me before. Talk about that.
So the spot where Troy's setting up the 4 chairs.
Yeah.
I was laying over on the mat, and he comes over to kick me in the head just to buy some more time while he's setting up the chairs. And when he came over to kick me, and I blame myself. I think I moved my head, and he legit, just my whole jaw just went numb. And I remember shutting my eyes, and you watch the video, I'm not moving for seconds. And then I remember waking up. Now I automatically put my hand on my face because I thought I felt blood everywhere.
Right.
I was just but I was so cold.
Did you realize where you were when you woke up immediately, or did you?
I remember.
Did you always hear stories like? I remember. I think it was William Regal tells a story about it. He got knocked out in a match. He was wrestling Kane, and then when he came to, Kane was bending over, and he's like, I had this giant guy in a mask looking at me. I had no idea what was going on.
I remember where I was. I remember waking up, and I was right on the edge of the ring.
Yeah.
And the first thing I felt was I just felt like there was blood pouring everywhere. So I automatically, my chin felt like it was out of place. It was awful. But then he came right over and picked me up. I was like, all right, I remember where I am, and we're gonna.
Did you ever have any thoughts of stopping at that point, or you just
never? No, God, no.
Did anyone? What other reactions did you get from some of the other boys backstage?
Everyone said I did a great job. I don't know if they're being nice to me or not. I
thought you did. I mean, I don't know what anyone else said. But I thought you did.
I got a message from Gary Williams. He's like, dude, that chair shot you took like a champ. Awesome job. So that made me feel good. But yeah, I just went right in and went right to Troy and shook his hand, thanked him, and asked him if it was okay. And all the guys patted my back, and off they went to the wrestling matches.
That was a match. If you lost, you never returned to UCW.
Yeah.
Sort of turned into a shoot a little bit there, because that was your last time you appeared on a main show?
I did the next 2 shows.
In Halifax. That was the last time you appeared on a main show?
Yeah. So leading up to that match, I did the special ref Troy and Chip match.
Yeah, that was a month before.
Yep. Yeah. And then the match, and then the next 2 nights we were doing a tour, so we did. Oh God, where were we? Someplace. Where did we go after the show?
Monkey?
Anyway, but I wore a neck brace as a gimmick for those 2 shows. They brought me out as finishing my contract obligations.
Right.
So I was the GM for 2 more days, even after I lost my job.
But before that show, you reffed a match. Troy and Chip Chambers. Santino was involved.
Yeah.
What was it like reffing a match? Did anyone explain to you anything beforehand, before that, like what to do?
Nope. I just studied tapes, watched tapes. I asked Emily a lot of questions. I was more nervous doing that than I was the wrestling match.
Yeah, because you can get in the way fairly easily.
And when you're in the ring as a ref, you don't realize how small the ring is. I always felt like I was in the way.
Yeah.
Total respect for you guys. I remember after the match, I went right for you, Squishy, and Emily. It's like, man, I don't know how you guys do that. That was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was stressful. You guys said I did an okay job. So.
You did.
Yep.
You absolutely. The 2 things you did outside of like ring announcing, the ref match and that match, were amazing. Like for me, to someone that had like no experience doing anything like that whatsoever, I thought you knocked it out of the park with both things that you did. I couldn't imagine doing it from like when I first started doing it, it was in front of a very small crowd. You first started doing it like reffing in front of a fairly big crowd, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And then they told me I had to take a bump.
Yeah.
And then Santino's spot, which was super cool. And of course, the angle was I had to visibly see Santino come in and interfere, but still not disqualify Troy, blah, 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 to further our storyline. Why didn't I? So, but yeah, the whole thing, I remember just going backstage and I'm like, where's Squishy? Where's New Scott? Where's Emily?
Yeah.
Like, and Emily was like, well done. Like your timing, you were right down there doing the 2 count. So 100%. That's all I asked for.
Yeah, and realistically, you shouldn't know. I mean, for storyline purposes, you shouldn't be perfect at it, right? You should be rough at it, not necessarily getting in their way, but like slow to get down for a count or something like that. So if you are, you could be like, yes, because I am.
And that's where Troy's being a veteran came in.
Yeah,
he told me all that stuff. Like, you shouldn't be like.
Shouldn't be Chris. You shouldn't be. Yeah, exactly.
You should be like jumping out and like, what am I doing or whatever. Yeah. Again, and the thing I was proud about me and Troy's storyline too, because it lasted the whole season.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that we kayfabed.
Yeah,
no one does that anymore. Yeah. So like we were on the road together. Like we did a Cape Breton tour, and
you filmed some of those stuff in his house.
Yeah, my promo saying I was going to quit was that Troy directed and filmed it.
Yeah.
But we always made sure we were in pictures together. We always made sure we didn't like each other's stuff on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Like, no one does that. So
it's funny that that's a thing.
Yeah, I know. Right? But we took it serious.
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's perfect. Right?
Yeah, we were on the Cabot Trail. And this is a beautiful scene, and Dick, Squishy, and Troy took a photo, and then me, Dick, and Squishy took a photo.
It's funny. So, where did the idea for the UCW VIP shows come from?
ISW was doing the Mega Pass. Oh, you mean the actual, the whole show?
Yeah.
Chuck told me, it's always an idea floating around. I know Russell Center was going to do it too. But Chuck one day said he wanted to, but the VIP was getting pretty popular, like the pre-shows. And he came in one day and he said 2 fans mentioned to him that he should do an all VIP show. And I'm going to do it. I said, oh, great job. I said, okay, that sounds like a cool idea. He said, yeah, the 2 guys are going to be the bookers and write. And I was like, what? And I'm not knocking them guys. But I was talking to some of the boys about it and stuff, and I knew the boys weren't going to, like, take advice and bookings.
It was just your Wrestle Center all over again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But worse.
Right. So I met Chuck one day at the ring gym, and I was like telling him some of the concerns. And he's like, well, why don't you book it? And I was like, well, I have no right booking either.
Yeah. More of a right than they do.
Yeah. So reluctantly, after a couple of minutes of chit-chatting with him, I said, oh, okay, I'll try it. I'll do my best. And whenever I take something on, I put 110% in. And so, yeah, I became the booker VIP.
Leading up to the VIP, Cody Youngblood was the first ever VIP champion. Mm-hmm. He lost the belt a month later to Big T. Is that correct? Yeah. Why do you... in my opinion, he should have been, for the first couple of shows anyway, he should have been the face of the VIP. I mean, he's like 22 years old. He looks like $1 million. Like, girls love the guy. He should have been the face. I get he wasn't going to be at one of the shows, but why wasn't the belt left on him for longer? Because you still could have had him and Big T main event, like the first VIP show, not just toss him in a tag match.
Right. So the idea when VIP came about, Chuck wanted Cody Blade to be the face of VIP.
Yeah.
He said he would draw tickets. He's young, good looking, fans love him. So that's what it was. They put the belt on him. I made the first poster, put him right in the front.
Yeah, because he was the focal point of the poster, but he wasn't really anything on the show. I mean, he had it in a tag match, but nothing big.
So, well, I made the poster look different. I wanted the VIP to be totally different. And I asked Chuck that. I said, I don't want it to be associated with UCW at all. I want all new ring announcers, referees, the whole works. I want it like its own thing. Yeah, you got it. So I made the poster look like a comic book. Like to try to draw it to younger people, and I postered around universities and in the game board rooms and stuff like that. We get to one of the main shows just before VIP, and Big T and Cody have a VIP match. And the next thing I know, I hear the bell ring, and Big T has announced the new champion. Had no idea. It wasn't told to me. He came backstage. I was like, what happened? And they're like, we were told to do the title change. And I was like, did Chuck know? And Chuck knew. And I was like, well, there goes my first show. I was going to have Cody in the main event. Yeah. And it just changed everything. Because the VIP show was coming up.
Yeah. It wasn't that far away.
Right. Yeah. So that was it. That was why Cody was no longer champion coming to the VIP show.
What? I mean...
And I don't know why.
You don't know?
Well, I do know why. Chuck wanted Cody on the VIP show. Burke wanted Cody on the main show.
Right.
There was a conflict between the two of them.
Yeah.
And that's why.
All right. Yeah, because I think he would have been perfect for that spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I was going to leave the belt on him.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to be at the next show. You could have even, did something where, Big T injured him in the next match and then let it...
Well, at the time, I didn't even know he wasn't going to be at the show.
Right. But
we didn't even know if there was going to be a second show because... At first, the VIP was like a joke to everyone. It was like, good luck with that.
I didn't think it was I loved the idea of giving the guys, the younger guys, a full show, full spot. But I was nervous for them that it wasn't going to draw because I've seen it done before, and it lots of times doesn't draw.
But that's where my gears kick in. I'm like, I'm going to make this succeed. I don't care. And the people saying, "Oh, good luck with your little show," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "No, we're going to do something with this." And it
outdrew some of the four main card UCW shows.
We drew 250 some. We did the I Am VIP video, and you just try to make it feel special.
Yeah.
And boy, the people that made fun of it the very next day were like,
"Can we get on your show?"
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I was the same.
And I'm not taking credit for the show. It goes all to the talent. Don't get me wrong. It was the talent.
But in fairness to you, people wouldn't have known about the show if it wasn't for you hitting the pavement,
I promoted it like it was something special. New. It was the new generation. That.
It doesn't matter who's on the show. People aren't going to come if they don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and we never announced a match. We didn't.
Yeah. No, that was you were. How many were you a part of? Two. I
was going to be part of. The third one was written.
Yeah. When did you When did you and Marcus Burke start having your issues? Because you technically married the guy in a show, right?
Yeah, I married him.
You guys were super close, and then it seemed to come out of nowhere to a lot of people that you were leaving UCW, and it was because...
So it was a slow build-up. We were in Shippagan, New Brunswick for a show, and after the show we went to a bar, and that's when I said, I'm thinking about doing some ISW shows.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that. And...
so at that point...
That's when I first heard, you work for me, you can't work for them. Yeah. And then he said, he sweet-talked me, and, oh, you're the face of UCW, you can't go, and just give me till the end of December, and then I don't care what you do. And so I reluctantly said, all right, I'll stay with, I'll just keep doing my thing. But then it just started, it was like little things. He didn't want me to promote the VIP show on the main page.
That's why you started the separate one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want it all to be super successful, right?
Right. Well, I know.
I mean, I'm sure he has his reasons, and I don't know what they are, but to me, you would want everything to be super successful.
Yeah. And then it was just a lot of negativity, and the saying, like, if you're around it a lot, you start being negative yourself. And I just found myself, like, I talked to Katie, I was like, I'm just not myself. I feel like I'm saying stuff that I don't really mean. By then the whole Moncton thing started, and he was very businesslike, and it was all about that. And then they announced the Moncton, the Riverview show the same night as the ISW show in the same town, right. And I refused to do the show. And so that
hurts everybody. That even hurts him.
Yeah. So
because you're going to split the roster,
right?
Or split the fans.
He didn't even tell me about it. I found out about it, that article that was being posted.
Yeah.
Someone wrote. That's how I found out about it, and I was like, I'm not doing that show. I don't agree with it. I'm sorry. So that set some some sour grapes between us. The second VIP show, he wanted me to book a whole bunch of Quebec guys, and I was like, no, I want to book locals. I'm just starting the brand, just starting the storylines. I can't bring in 4 unknowns and not book my guys, like the local guys. And we fought about that for 2 weeks, but I kept my...
It wouldn't have been really VIP for UCW at that point, because none of the Quebec guys were like VIP guys.
It was their students.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I stood my ground. I was not going to book Thad for a Quebec guy. So that was sour grapes.
Did he have any involvement, he being Marcus Burke, in booking the VIP shows? Or was
no.
That was just you?
It was just me. However, come the second show, it started to leak in, I guess you could say. Because I booked Joey. And Joey's ISW.
Right.
And I got a lot of...
But Spades is too. Like Spades work for ISW. What's the difference?
I heard Joey was a champion.
Okay.
That's what I heard. There was a lot of like phone calls behind my back to Chuck and complaining that I was still promoting ISW shows on the Wrestle in the Maritimes page. It was just all this petty stuff, and I was like, I don't need this. I just want to, just have fun again. So, and I wasn't having fun. So the second VIP show was coming, and I just felt like there was all this foolishness going on. Because the first VIP show was awesome.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was great. Everyone loved it. The workers had a great time, and then it was successful. So the second show was different, and then the third show I didn't even make it because it got even worse.
Yeah. You what was you can tell me, you can not tell me, what was the reason that you finally decided to leave? Was it because Joey?
A few things. All the petty little stuff add up.
But was there one final thing? Like I said, you can tell me, you don't want to talk about it. That's fine.
No, I'll talk about it. I don't care. The big things were the booking of the show the same night at ISW. I didn't agree with.
Yeah.
Booking a show solely to hurt them.
Yeah.
2 was they fired Kobe.
Right.
And I thought, first of all, Kobe's like one of their top guys. Surely the rest of the roster is going to, like, enough is enough. We're going to stand up for Kobe. If they could do it to Kobe, they could do it to us.
He was the champ for like a year.
Yeah.
Like their maritime whatever champ.
Yeah, and no one said nothing. So I didn't agree to that. Then it was brought to my attention that something very bad about my character was being said about
Like
the VIP
personally?
shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By Burke.
Yeah.
Which ended our friendship. Like, business-wise, I didn't care. But personally, it hurt me. I was very upset about it. Heard it by 2 or 3 people, what he was saying. And I was going to quit that day. I was like, I had it. And my girlfriend, Katie, was like, but you love the VIP. You're passionate about that. Just do that. I said, okay, fine. I'm quitting UCW, the main shows, but I'll stay with VIP. Picked up my phone, I called Chuck, texted him, and I said, I want to book Covey for the 3rd VIP show. And he said, no, I have to stand by my booker's decision. And I said, well, if I can't book my own show the way I want it, you can have it. And I quit. Yeah. And I met Chuck that day, and we hugged, and he welcomed me back anytime. And I told him what I heard was being said about me, and that was it. That was the end of my run with VIP.
Have you ever talked to Marcus Burke about
anything?
You haven't talked to him since then?
I came home and blocked and deleted him on all my... No. And it wasn't hearsay. This day and age, the screenshots, everyone's sending screenshots everywhere. Yeah. It was very hurtful, very untrue, and And luckily I have OCD, so I have proof of what he accused me of doing, and I showed Chuck, and I did, whatever. And I put so much work into UCW. Like, when I'm with a company, I do everything. Like, I did the float, the Christmas float. I did that on my own dime. Like, Chuck gave me like $30. The float cost me $120, But I just wanted to promote the product so much, and I would do, and I told Chuck that, like, I would do anything for this company, but I can't deal with this stuff. It's bullshit, and so.
Yeah, you showed up at the, whenever it was, a couple weeks ago, the 3rd VIP. Ooh, you got some good ones. From the 3rd VIP show, you showed up. You brought the screen. That's your screen, right?
Yes, my screen. So the day I quit, I took it.
Right. Which makes sense. But
you're not using my screen.
Not a lot of people would have brought it back for them to use, right? That's very gracious of you.
Like I said,
and you get along with Chuck fine and everyone else.
Yeah,
right?
my problem's not with Chuck. Yeah. People don't know. UCW is almost like 2 companies now. There's the Halifax, Nova Scotia Chuck that's been around for years, and the year-old New Brunswick UCW. My problem is not with Chuck. I've seen Chuck. I've gone out for coffee with Chuck since then. Yeah. Like, no problem. No, I wish him nothing but the best. I would never do anything to hurt the talent. I love the boys. So I said, if you need anything, let me know. Yeah. And that day, their screen, I guess they bought new screens, but they weren't ready. And they're like, can we borrow you? I said, yeah, of course. So I went, and then they were going to have a team meeting in the ring, so I left because I didn't think I should be there, out of respect. And then I came back for the show to support the boys. Yeah,
and all that happened just like you said it, just in case somebody doesn't believe you, because I was there. Saw the whole thing. Some people are going to be like, oh, he stayed, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, my God, I heard so many. Of course, you hear the rumors.
All of that happened.
Yeah. I went out for a beer one night with Jim Joyce. He was like, so I hear you got heat with Chuck. I was like, no. He's like, yeah, that's what I heard while you left. You and Chuck got in a big fight. I was like, nothing but...
Yeah, I heard a bunch of different things, and you said 2 of them. So, I mean, obviously those 2 were true.
If Chuck called me today and said, can you do a show... I would say, yeah, of course. Yeah. It depends, I should say. Yeah. Sadly, out of all of this, I lost a friend. But it's sad.
I don't know, though.
I try to look at it his side, like he's starting his own company. And
I still talk to the dude all the time. We get along fine but we've had ups and downs as well. Yeah. But I get along fine with the guy. But I'd love to hear his side of things as well. But hopefully someday. We've talked about it, but we haven't set anything down yet.
Yeah, I mean, my last email to him before I deleted him, the last sentence was, I truly hope one day that you realize a friendship is more important than Facebook likes.
Are you? Would you be? Would you be open to like talking to him?
Yeah, of course.
Now?
I'm going to bump into him. A, I don't like being told I can't do something. B, what he said about me was so hurtful, and it kills me to think that people might have believed him.
Yeah.
And business or not, I was his friend.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm 45. I don't have time for that bullshit.
Right.
I wouldn't say that about any of my friends. So.
Right.
And I'm not going to say what it was said because, again,
No, dude, don't have to.
it
don't have to.
hurt me so much. So, yeah. Anyway.
The first time he's going to be back here is on March 2nd or 1st at the Forum. Are you going to go to that show?
No.
Nope. No. Fair enough. Because of that, or because of?
Yeah, I'm not.
You just don't want the awkward.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope. It's totally fair.
I'm not into conflict at all and stuff like that. So if I know there's going to be any, I don't want to bring that negative vibe to a show.
Yeah. No, it's totally fair. All right. We're going to go to some fan questions here.
Oh, God.
You got a bunch.
Oh, did I do James Smith?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Tommy Starr. Come back to wrestling, Tommy Starr.
You do. Actually, I was like, I don't read these ahead of time, but there is a question from James there.
Oh, good.
First one's from Jim Joyce. When are we going to have that one-on-one match? and there's comments. Hold on. Jason Langell replies with, "I would pay to see that. Kick his ass." And Jim Joyce says, "I'm sure Dave would kick my ass." So, what's any plans to have a match with Jim Joyce?
No. It was a running joke that he wanted me to book him as a evil referee, and he always wanted. He's like, "I come out of retirement to have a match just with you."
Yeah.
No, there'll be no more matches for Dave Boyce.
You don't want to get back in there?
No, God, no. Jesus.
Matt Connors from Sabotage. How come we're not on any posters?
I don't do the posters. It's funny.
Do they not know?
I've done posters with them when I did posters. Yeah, someone made a comment the other day that the posters for UCW are slowly more and more no Maritimers on it. And, I don't know.
Yeah, it's mostly Quebec guys now.
Sabotage are over. They should be on every poster.
Yeah.
It's mine. But, you know.
They're the tag champs, right? Yeah.
They are.
Ryan Durnford or Damien Spades. Can you convince me to come to the CAC next year?
I think anybody who is a wrestling fan should go to the CAC, but especially you. Oh my God, you could do a seminar. I'm sure.
I don't know about a seminar, but I take a lot of pictures.
Do you ever think about doing like a maritime seminar, like the history of wrestling? Like I think
not
people
really,
would, oh.
but I've. It would. I don't know if there's the only people that would be interested in it are like you guys.
I think you'd be surprised. I joked about with you at the last VIP show that I hope people know how your YouTube password.
Oh yeah.
Something ever happens
when
to
I
you.
die. That's my legacy. Yeah. Chris Cass. If only 20 posters are printed and none of them are put up, does anyone really see them?
So that's the last Outlaw show. I asked Dana how many posters he put out for the show, and he said 17.
That's crazy.
And Chris was making the posters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He makes the UCW VIP posters now, I believe.
He did. I got him that gig.
Yeah.
I get Chris all his gigs. Every time I quit someplace, I recommend Chris Cass. I did it for Wrestle Center, TCW, Outlaw, and now UCW VIP.
That's funny. Yeah, I told Dana to get Chris Cass to do the posters too. He's a good dude.
Yep. Love Chris.
Derek Carpel.
Another guy who, Chris knows so much about wrestling.
It's ridiculous. I used to think I knew a lot. But man, that guy puts me to shame.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I got older and forgot, but there's nothing he doesn't know.
You know who else
and
is like
I
that?
used to be like that years ago, but not anymore. But just talking to him now is crazy.
JP Sims is another one. We did the.
I never really talked to him all that much.
We did the wrestling trivia last year in order to promote a UCW show. We went in as Team UCW.
Yeah.
Another idea I came up with, and then we did it. It was awesome. We sold tickets and stuff doing that. JP knew everything.
Yeah.
We were like, holy. Like, it's like, what's the third match of SummerSlam 1986? And JP, oh, I know. Wow, that's weird.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Chris Cass hosts that sometimes now. Two of my really good friends went to it one time, and I told Chris, and these two guys, there's nothing that you can tell about wrestling history. That one of them especially, but both of them combined, they're not going to miss a question. I told Chris, I'm like, 2 of my buddies are coming. I guarantee you they are going to win. And he was like, oh, blah, 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 because there's a lot of really... He messaged me after the show. He was like, they didn't get a question wrong. I'm like, I told you.
I used to be like that years ago when there was like 5 pay-per-views. Like I used to know like... But
I used to be able to do it up until like recently, but I don't know if it's just like getting older, it's just because there's so much. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, me either. I don't even watch half of it.
Yeah, I still watch it all, but I don't remember it like I used to. Derek Harpel. Boyce, we need Mike Hughes to bring you into Red Rock. Boyce and Langell on commentary would be wicked. What do you love about Red Rock and PEI?
I only went to, I did the Amber show for him, but I went to Red Rock and PEI, but I didn't work the show, but I would love it. Oh my God, yeah, who wouldn't? The atmosphere at those shows is freaking awesome. Yeah. Everyone should go to a Red Rock show. But yeah, now that I'm with IHW,
you see Mike a lot more.
I see Mike a lot now. Yep. I did some New Breed shows. I went up to the last one just to hang out with the boys because I didn't get to see a lot of them after the whole UCW. No, you can't work at UCW, so goodbye. So went up to see, but yeah, I love Mike, so I'm looking forward to working with him.
The fan has spoken, Mike Hughes. They want Boyce at Red Rock Wrestling.
They have a great. They have like a GM guy up there. He did a great job. So I don't know. I just go out and watch.
Jim Joyce again. Are all of these Jim? No. Do you realize the resurgence of maritime wrestling is in large part to your hard work behind the scenes?
I don't realize that. No.
It's true, though. I mean, it's. I would definitely agree with that statement. I don't. There's nobody that posts more than you, and I don't know about posting outside, but I see you posting that you are posting outside. But at least online, there's nobody that does more stuff than you do. If you're not the reason why, you're definitely a huge part of it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. Harold. I work hard. I don't know.
No, you do. It shows. I've seen you for, I don't remember when we met, maybe like 4 years ago maybe, and it shows. You're one of the most hardest working people there. I'd like to give credit to the people, like a lot of people. In one of my interviews, I talked about how hard Tieran and Casey work now, because a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Or when Sabotage was first coming around, how hard they work and still work on shows. And James, Tommy Starr. Like, a lot of people don't realize the effort that these guys put in, and they should get the credit. And,
I know.
And you're definitely one of those guys.
Well, and thank you. I always try to acknowledge people, too.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll say, like, Cody Boggs, for instance.
Yeah.
He's an asset.
Yeah, he doesn't stop. Right, like, doesn't stop.
He can do everything.
Yeah.
Casey and Big T are the new like they're just
new Sabotage. Yeah.
They're. You can always know who's going to show up and be the first one's there, the last one's late.
100%.
It's always the same people.
Yeah.
And then it's the other people that are whining and complaining.
Yeah, 100%. Like Cody's there probably from 8 in the morning till 2 a.m. the next day. Doesn't complain once. Yeah. Someone else is there for just shows up just before bell time, and wants to leave immediately after the show. I'm like, what the hell, dude? Jason Langell. You already answered this. Why did you leave Wrestle Center? Why did you go to IHW? Why did you leave UCW? We've already covered that. So, but
just keep leaving.
Good.
My morals. I have morals, I guess.
Maybe it's you. You've left and gone back. Maybe Dave Boyce is the problem. Jason Smith, Tommy Starr. What motivates you to do so much hard work, which most people are oblivious to, for the maritime wrestling scene? Great question. Like, what is it about you? Where does your drive come from?
Wrestling
there's not a lot of people that
wrestling
have
has entertained me my whole life. So my goal is to give back and support these guys. So like, I'll do all their merch. I don't ask for a dime. Mm-hmm. I will promote till I'm blue in the face in order they can work in front of a big crowd. I do it because I love wrestling. Wrestling has entertained me my whole life. Right. So to be a part of it now is an honor for me. Yep. So I like, anybody can message me in the middle of the night and say, I need 8 by 10 by tomorrow, and it will be done by breakfast. Yep. Like, I just do it. And I don't ask for anything. Like, if I make you a shirt, throw me a shirt.
That's the same reason I started doing it when I started filming shows. I looked around and there was nobody filming shows. I'm like, these guys should be able to see their stuff. Right. What about a video camera? But what is it about you? Because it's safe to say most people in wrestling love wrestling, grew up loving wrestling. Most people. But they don't have the same drive. I said the same thing about Madison Miles. What is it about her that started 15 years old, now 19, that has already accomplished more in those 4 years than 99% of people from here will ever accomplish? She will have more matches this year than any of them will have combined for the next 10. What is it about you that separates you apart from all of them?
I think we have a mind for business. We look at it as a business. A lot of guys, some of the guys, I'm not going to say a lot of guys, some of the guys, they won't even share the poster unless their face is on it. Like, it drives me insane. Yeah. When Destiny first said they were coming here, all the guys, woohoo, Destiny, and they're posting, sharing Destiny. I was like,
who cares?
How come you don't share our local stuff like that? For me, I just want the business to thrive. I want the guys to make money. I did the Support Maritime Wrestling logo to get the word out because me and Madison did the world's largest garage sale.
The flea market. I saw you guys there,
to promote the show, and so many people had no idea there's wrestling. So if I can,
I have a story for you.
So if I can produce like a walking billboard, that was my goal. And I got the idea in Vegas when Gary bought a Support Indie Wrestling T-shirt, and I was like, well, that's genius. But it's so broad. So I'm going to go home and make one for the Maritimes. And so, like, if Chris Dillon's walking down,
has one.
Yeah, if someone's walking down the street and sees it, and there's so many stories where people have come and said, it started a conversation. That was my goal.
You see it everywhere. It's like 97 NWO T-shirts out there.
So yeah, like I said, I want the guys to make some money off it. I always promote fans to go to the merch table. Because that's nothing to do with me. Go.
100%.
I don't know why. I like I said, I see it as a business, and I want the guys to thrive. So. And whenever I do something, I put 110% in it. So.
Yeah, well, you sure do. It's funny you mentioned that people don't know the shows are here. I got a message maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago from the daughter of a person that goes to all of Chuck's shows at the Spryfield Lions rink when they're in the back. She asked me, were there any other shows around? I guess her mother's been going to show for years, but had even when you guys announced it, didn't really understand, had no idea there were shows at the Forum, had no idea they did shows in other parts of the province. And she was like, I would love to go, bring my daughter and go with my mother and stepdad or whatever to these shows, but we had no idea they were happening. And her mom's even at the shows and still don't know like the shows are happening. It's crazy. Like, we had this conversation. It's a big disconnect.
Well, the world's different. Everyone has such a short attention span now. We're just taking information constantly. Like when you post this, I'm sure whoever's watching it right now has 5 other tabs on their internet, right? Doing something else and listening. Like, it's just boom, 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 boom. And we were talking about posters. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you saw a wrestling poster in a poll, you stopped and you read it. Now, there's a million posters in a poll, you just walk past it. Online, it's just information. Like, no one stops and just absorbs what they're looking at. They read the headline, they go by what the headline says, they don't read the story. That's just what it is now. So you could be her mom could be at the wrestling show, and you could say it 3 times. It's a show at the Forum.
She had no idea.
And it just...
So I sent them the poster.
Or they're doing this.
Yeah. I love watching old wrestling shows, looking at the crowd and being with my wife and be like, what do you notice about the crowd? And they're watching the show? I'm like, the
fans that film the entire match, I don't understand. I love it. Thank you for so I can watch it when I go home, but I don't understand.
I couldn't do it. If I was just there as a fan, I couldn't. I mean, I want to watch it, right?
People that post
but I've only watched 2 shows that work for behind the video camera. But yeah, so now I sent her the poster to the Halifax show, and I sent her a video showing like the difference of this, how much bigger the Forum shows are, and she was like, "Holy crap, we had no idea this existed." So that's 3 new people and her mom that are going to come to those shows now. Like, I don't get where the disconnect is, but I'm so happy when people find it.
I always give ideas of how to promote shows. Like, first of all, you should post around the universities.
100%.
No one does. No one does.
Those were the places we hit the most. Every day we would go around all the universities and hit the polls. If one was down, that poll went back up.
This is a university town, so that's where you should go. There's all kinds of different ideas you could do, but again, people's attention spans are like...
It's crazy.
So you'd have to go up and... Like when WWE was here, I went all day. And I walked up
saw you.
and down and up and down, handing out flyers. And it worked because we got fans from that. But you just have to put the work in and do something different. The float was a great big success. People said they didn't even know there was wrestling in Spryfield.
Yeah. I got a message from somebody, I don't even know who, I don't remember who. I got a message from somebody asking, was that the wrestling shows that I filmed because of your float? They were like, we had no idea that there were shows in Spryfield. I'm friends with these people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, they clearly just scroll past my stuff.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
again.
But they were like, oh, so we're going to come to the next show. I'm like, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that float made them realize there's still wrestling.
Yeah, and we're handing out candy canes with the flyer on. But the people on your Facebook page already know you exist. Yeah. It's to get to the people that don't know. So that's the challenge.
That's the thing, yeah.
That's the challenge. You got to be creative.
Yeah. Edrico Woodman, why are you so awesome?
I don't know, Ed. I don't know.
Robert Hooper, where is the Fountain of Youth and how did you find it? Did you pay these people?
Yeah, I know. God, that's so nice comments. I don't know. I feel like my age. But I don't know. That's the water in Halifax, the fresh, salty air.
Kirk Ubey, who has commented on every one of my interviews with a question for somebody.
Dean Fisk.
Were you heartbroken? To have never seen Damien Cage managing Dean Fisk at Wrestle Center? And how far would they have gone together?
Not far at all. Unfortunately. Dean Fisk. That was another thing with Wrestle Center. Everyone got different names. And, yeah. I like Dean Fisk though. He used to grunt all the time. But again, see, everyone knows Damien Cage. He's got to come out someday.
Derek Harpel. Question number 2: What moment in your pro wrestling career are you most proud of?
My work with Troy is probably the highlight. Just to do a storyline that long and to work with him, probably that.
Yeah, and have people believe it too, right?
Yeah. People actually believe.
It's hard to do.
Yeah. And that we were, we took it serious and we kayfabed and we made sure we weren't in pictures, and it's just the whole thing I was very proud of. And I was very proud of the VIP.
Yeah.
Being the small part that I did and starting it and creating like legit and all that stuff.
Is that your idea?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Vance Bazanton, in your opinion, is there something you feel you bring to the table of maritime wrestling that others don't? Good question.
Well, I'm in a different role than everyone else. So, well, not currently right now, but like when I was in UCW, it was like a 3-man. It was like me, Chuck, and Burke. So we all had. And I did a lot for UCW behind the scenes and stuff. So, I just wish everyone had like 110% work ethic like me. But most guys do. Some guys don't. I wish some of my pet peeves are people who are booked in feuds but post pictures of themselves together at restaurants and gyms. And,
yeah.
Like we're not gonna. I don't know. I'm just old school, I guess. But yeah, I just wish people. I wish I was born in the 50s. Yeah. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I wish I was in the age where it was kayfabe was alive and well. I don't know. Just
it's very different.
Yeah.
Another question from Jason Langell. We kind of talked about this as well. Are you designing T-shirts for wrestlers in the Maritimes officially or unofficially?
I do it unofficially. Yeah. So sometimes I'll get up in the morning and have my morning coffee and I'm just bored, so I'll make a T-shirt and send it to the guy and say, hey, look what I made for you today. Print it if you want. And they're very appreciative. Sometimes they print it, sometimes they don't. But again, you could, like you yourself reached out to me this week. And I was like, and I did it in a day. Like,
yeah, it was awesome.
I officially, no, I don't officially do anything for them like that. I just do it when they ask me, And sometimes I'll do it when they don't ask me because I'm bored. I just sent massive
design whatever you want when you're bored.
2 weeks ago, I woke up and Massive Damage, Sean, posted a poster for his company out west. And I took his logo and I was like, I'm just going to sit here and make a new logo for him. And I did a new logo, and then I put it on a shirt. I sent it to him. He's like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah.
All right, that's the end of the fan questions there. Who's your favorite? You kind of mentioned Hogan, but who's the best wrestler you've ever seen?
Ric Flair.
Ric Flair?
Yeah. Locally or all around?
Anywhere.
Because locally it'd be Dick Durning or Titus.
Yeah.
Anywhere? What?
That was my next question.
Okay. Sorry. Joke question. Oh my God, my favorite match is Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat.
Which one?
Chi-Town.
Okay.
Love it.
Nice.
In fact, funny story. WWE did their rivalry series.
Yeah.
And they covered Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and my girlfriend.
89 or 94?
Oh God.
Because they worked a couple of times.
Yeah, but the show did their whole feud, like the history of them. And I remember at the time my friend was watching with me, and they were like, "Why isn't wrestling like that now?" Yeah. And that was his first reaction to it. I was like,
amazing.
"Yeah, right."
Yeah, it's because people didn't have cell phones. People didn't have everything at their fingertips, right? It's crazy.
And people believed it.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat posting pictures of them together at a restaurant.
And nobody was doing these shoot interviews.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, RF Video.
Yeah, right.
That's where I got the idea to do them from. Was from him.
No,
I watched everything that dude ever put out. I got to meet him once, but yeah, back in like the early 2000s, like every time he put out a shoot, I was like, it was mine.
Yeah. No, I've been enjoying all yours.
Locally, who's your favorite wrestler to watch? You said Dick and Titus?
Dick Durning and Titus, for sure.
What about why those guys?
Dick Durning is just amazing.
Yeah, he does so much crazy stuff for a big dude.
Right, yeah. Right. Super nice guy. Titus is what I wish everyone did. Mm-hmm. He's still mysterious. Yep. I don't see him on Facebook or Instagram. He's Titus.
Yeah.
And he does stuff in the ring that is just amazing.
Yeah, he. I wish I said this before, but I wish he would have left and never came back, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah, I am shocked.
I wish I was watching him on television.
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
shocked that he doesn't tour around the world.
Yeah. Because he's as good, or if not better, than anybody you will see. Like, people think, and he is, but people think Kenny Omega is like the greatest wrestler in the world now, and he very well could be. But people are going to laugh when I say this, but Titus, given the opportunity, could be just as good. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah, when him and Julian did the Spanish Fly at Wrestle Center, it's just to see that man.
Yeah, he did it.
That size.
I had him do it to Marco at the Cup.
Yeah.
And because I wanted that to be the finish, right? And people lost their minds because they'd never seen that before.
And just the look of him, and now with the mask, and just.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. No drama with him.
Nothing. No, so easy to deal with too. In your opinion, since you're the social media guy, what is it about wrestling now? Doesn't draw large crowds to shows on a consistent basis. Before social media was a thing, Grand Prix Wrestling, Real Action Wrestling were drawing much bigger crowds to their shows on a more consistent basis. Why, with a more larger avenue now to be able to advertise, are we drawing less?
Back then, the only time you got to see the wrestlers was to go to a show.
Yeah.
Now you see them, your friends on Facebook, so you see everything they're doing. So that's one. The mystique is gone. Reason. The mystique is gone. Like, why would I pay?
So you think social media hurt?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Advertising wise is good, but all the other stuff, all the drama, when wrestlers start bickering back and forth with other.
I hate that so much.
Right.
Remember the time Flair and Harley Race argued on Facebook?
And I used to send people private messages, just stop. But no one listens to me, so I just give it. So that's one. Like I said earlier, why would I pay to see wrestler A and B fight when I saw them in a restaurant last night on Facebook, or he's laying on his bed patting his kittens like he's I don't know.
Poor Josh.
No, that's not Josh. I just randomly came up with a kitten. ticket prices is a huge factor.
Yeah.
So you can charge a family. So let's say the average ticket now is $20. So you draw 200. Why don't you drop it down to $10 and draw 400? It's the same amount of money, but it looks.
I literally had this conversation with somebody yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. The short attention span, like I said earlier, too. People just take information and it goes in one ear and out the other. The whole poster thing, I think is a waste of time now. Putting posters in like a city like Halifax, because you walk by a pole, people don't even notice it. Whereas years ago, well, like I said, that's how I got my first wrestling gig. The wrestling poster. I just stopped. I was like, oh my god. Now it's. I don't know. Like I said, social media is good, but I think it's hurt the business in the long run. Like, I hate seeing wrestlers go on Facebook and fight.
Right.
Bigger.
So you don't necessarily, like, I view wrestling as more of a movie, as like a pure entertainment. Obviously it's athletic, I don't mean that, but I mean like good guy, bad guy type thing. I view it as a movie. Like, you can go see, I don't know, Star Wars is the highest grossing movie of all time. Those two guys, I know nothing about Star Wars, but those two guys in that movie are not really fighting each other. Mm-hmm. They can go to the opening to the movie together and shake hands and hug and stuff. What's the difference? Like, why in your eyes, why is there a difference? Because WWE is drawing 70,000 people and everyone knows the Rock and Austin.
Yeah, but you can't compare.
No. I know. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah. I think because in this business we still want you to think it's real. Like we were getting you to invest in. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That's just the question I've always had, because that's how I look at it. I look at it like you're going to pay money to see a play.
Yeah,
and there's usually a good guy and bad guy in the play, but they're still filling whatever theater they're in, right? Mm-hmm. To see them. Why can't people just come in and suspend their disbelief, just like they're paying to see a movie?
I don't know. I wish they would.
Right.
However, you can also just stay home and watch the matches online, because someone in the audience is doing Facebook Live.
Yeah.
So.
But, and I mean, I get that, but I couldn't imagine if the show was here, staying home and watching it on my phone or television, when I could be there to feel the atmosphere. Because the thing with wrestling for me is the atmosphere of the crowd. I'm getting a goosebumps now just talking about it. Is the crowd reacting to stuff? You could go out and put on the best match ever, and unless the crowd's reacting to it, it doesn't mean anything, right? That's my thing.
In the words of Daniel Bryan, wrestling fans are fickle.
Yeah.
I said
are they ever?
Where there's wrestling fans who were Wrestle Center fans will not go to a UCW show.
Yeah.
So they're not wrestling fans; they're a brand fan. Yeah. And it drives me crazy.
I've never been a brand
they're
fan.
missing so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know why wrestling fans choose to go or not go.
Yeah.
All I can do is, on my part, is help promote and push the shows and push the guys and make every match seem like you can't miss this. This is going to be an awesome match. But other than that, I can't drag them. I can't go out and take them by the hand and come with me.
Is there something you would do differently, or that you see could be done differently to get more people to shows?
Yes. You need to spend money to make money.
Advertising?
You're right.
What if you were to do it tomorrow, if someone was like, here's a budget, what would be your advertising avenue? Or avenues?
So, yeah. I wouldn't do posters. I would invest my poster budget into Facebook ads.
Really?
That's what Smash Wrestling does in Ontario, and they've seen a big difference. Not smaller rural towns like Kentville but like big cities.
Yep.
Like, posters just don't work. I always see an increase in our shows when we do radio.
100%.
So radio first and foremost.
So advertise on a radio that
and you can swing deals.
Listen to?
Yeah, you can swing deals. And when radios are in on a show and then they do contests on their Facebook page, and you read the comments, there's so many people like, oh my God, there's wrestling in Halifax? Yeah. So it's a huge avenue to use, like a huge radio is just so important. So I would definitely invest in radio.
That's the most important, in my opinion. That's the most
I
important.
would also set up a ring for free in the middle of a park and pay 4 guys to come in and do 2 matches or a tag match and just create some buzz. Every time I go to the Micmac Mall, I say that center area where the 2 escalators and the roof, the ramp, or the second floor above it. I was like, I don't know why no one has ever put a wrestling ring here on a Saturday afternoon. I don't care what it cost. And just, boom, pass out flyers. There's a show next week.
Yeah, well, it's funny. We have a lot of the same ideas. We tried to do that back in 2003, 2004. They wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. We wanted to do the university thing too. Where I gotta change the battery now. We tried to book Micmac Mall one time back in 2003, 2004 for a show, but they wanted nothing to do with it. We wanted
a whole show.
We had a show inside Empire Theaters one time before WrestleMania one year, 2009 or something. Chuck did them in the parking lot. We had one actually inside the building in the concession stands area. Yeah. People were coming in like, oh my God, like what's this? Which I thought was a great idea because nobody knew it was around. And then we tried to do the universities too, SMU and Dal, but the universities wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. But then we had the idea to try and do it match up with the concert, like you just said, set the ring up on the other side of the street from a giant concert. When the concert ends, start a match. But it was really
one of the big things last year for UCW. They did what's the big chicken wing? Not chicken. The Spare Ribs Festival. We were right in the middle of what's it called? Rib Fest.
Rib Fest.
Yeah, it was huge. 2 more ideas right quick. And I suggested this in every company I've been in, starting a Wrestle Center, was to put a ring at Halcon.
That's a good idea. That's a brilliant idea.
And no one will do it. No one will listen to me.
Why not? I don't know. I've never thought of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, right?
There's thousands and thousands
wrestling
of people.
fans there.
Yeah.
So Jason Mosier, when I first suggested,
is it in a place where I've never been there? Is it in?
Well, it used to be in the old exhibition, or the old World Trade Convention Center building, but now it's over in the Scotia Bank. So it's huge.
No, that's awesome. Totally.
So the first year I suggested it, they were like, no, just go down there on your own and pass out flyers, which I did. Yeah. I walked around Halcon, passed out flyers, but everywhere I went, I was like, people are dressed up as wrestlers.
Yeah.
So every year I suggest it, but no one ever wants to do it.
That's crazy.
And the other idea, when I'm in Las Vegas, they have billboard trucks.
Yeah.
It's just a little truck with a billboard and a V on the back of the truck, and he drives up and down the strip, advertising. I was like, do that once every weekend on Spring Garden Road, Oxford, just driving. And people
do it the day of a show, like just keep driving around town, megaphone out the window.
Buy a billboard and put it in the center of the Rotary.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Or
that's it, just leading to Spryfield.
Yeah.
Put a big, go to glow parties and get wrestling, whatever, just nice and simple.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's a good idea.
Anyway, who am I?
What do you know?
Someday.
Yeah. Yeah, you wrote yesterday or the day before or something that you're going to start your own wrestling company someday?
I know, all my friends keep asking me.
Yeah.
So that's why I just did it to please Sean.
Where is that guy? Sean
Ontario.
Oh, he's not around anymore?
No, I miss him.
Oh.
Another talent.
Yeah, I only met him a couple of times, but he seems like a really good dude.
But he's like me. He doesn't like the bullshit, so.
Yeah. You can just put up with it more.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up that I forgot?
Oh, there's my phone ringing. Hang on 1 second.
It's Brody Steele.
That's Katie. Let's hang up on her. Sorry, Katie, when you're watching this.
For the 9th time.
No, I'm looking forward to what this year's bringing. I know the plans, and it's going to be fun, and I'm glad to be back with IHW. And
where can we see you next?
IHW. The show is March the 22nd at the Moncton Lions Club in Moncton, and you're going to see me at Outlaw Pro Wrestling. I just found out last night, so they asked me to ring announce for them. So.
The 18th or the 23rd of March, or both?
It's the 23rd show in Stewiacke.
Okay.
Yeah, the 18th is on a Monday night, so I don't think I can swing. It's a bot show.
Indian Brook? Yeah. Regular people can't go to that show, I don't think. I think it's just for the town. I don't know, but that's what a lot of reserves.
Yeah, a lot of the bot shows are like that. Yeah. But yeah, so that's ISW all year, and Outlaw on the 20, whatever day you said. Like you just messaged me last night.
The 23rd, yeah. How can people follow you online?
I'm on Twitter at Dave Boyce. Instagram, I believe I'm the same, or Dave-Boyce. I don't know. I think there was another Dave Boyce on Instagram. Facebook, I have a wrestling ring announcer / GM /
the longest page name ever.
I know, right? Background actor. I added all of it. So just search that. I don't add fans to my personal page.
Any
and nor do I think wrestlers should either.
Do you have any closing comments for any fans, family, or friends that might be watching this?
No, I love you all. Thanks for your support in this crazy pastime that I do. My mom, oh my god, my mom hates Troy Merrick.
That's hilarious.
When you go to the local shows, go to the merch table. Support the guys and gals that put on the show. They're the stars. They're the ones putting on their body on the line. Support them. That's my tagline all the time. Go support these guys.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this interview with me. And I want to thank you for everything you've done for the maritime wrestling scene for the last 4 or 5 years, 5 years, I guess, however long it's been. It'd be hard pressed to find anybody that has worked harder than you to try to spread the word of maritime wrestling, not only just by the Maritimes across Canada. And when you go to Vegas, always talking about it down there.
I do.
Well, one of these days I will. But I want to thank you for doing that because, like I said, it'd be hard pressed to find anybody that's done more or worked harder than you to spread the word of maritime wrestling. Something I've been trying to do for a long time. I was going to say,
coming from you.
And having someone else do it as much or more is amazing. I love that you do it. I love seeing my newsfeed flooded with maritime wrestling stuff on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. It's I love it, and thank you very much for everything that you've done.
Thanks.
And thank you for the time doing this interview.
Thank you. I'm doing that for Justin. He always makes fun of me. I always do the peace sign.